mention thank you to Joanne, our current district director. She has about 18 more days till she finally gets to get some sleep, but she has been super helpful in the planning of this event and support for the incoming team. And I just want to quickly recognize and thank our incoming district director, distinguished Toastmaster Joanne Monroe. Yay.
Thank you.
Now we can begin the program, and I'm going to just turn it right over. I want to introduce your incoming district director, distinguished Toastmaster, Dan Arbuckle. Dan, take it away.
Thank you very much. And definitely a round of applause for Rob for helping make all of this possible. I actually prepared a speech, which is right in front of me, but I'm terrible at reading my own speeches. Let's make this really easy. I want to thank all of you for being here. Most importantly, I want to thank you for stepping up to be a district leader. The journey of any trip, anything we set out to do always starts with that first step. All of you, I'm sure, have been a leader in your personal life, in your business life, definitely in your Toastmasters clubs. But for some of us, maybe this is our first step into being a district leader. Remember those things you've learned from being a leader in the past, you know, that passion for what it is you're doing, the compassion for the people that you're working with and for, and communication. That's what we do as Toastmasters, right? And that's what we'll need to do a lot. And hopefully all the communication we do with our fellow Toastmasters in the district will result in all of us communicating with each other. We'll give you fair warning. Sometimes reaching out to a club results in silence. But just stick with it. Find new avenues to get out there. The more that we can get ourselves and our clubs interacting together, the more we can learn what education offerings they would like us to present, the more we can structure our year to make sure we're meeting everybody's needs. And we can try to avoid things every Tuesday evening because there's, 10% of our clubs meet on those evenings, things of that nature. The communication is really that biggest thing. The other thing we should remember from being Toastmasters and hopefully from being leaders is that we're not in this alone. We're not performing without a net. If you look around and look at all the other Toastmasters faces you see, the thing that I like most about Toastmasters and find to be true in every club I've gone to, as a Toastmaster will take just as much, probably more pride in seeing you do well as they will in seeing themselves do well. Just focus on that. You're not alone. We're all in this together. We're all trying to do what we can to do the best possible job for our fellow Toastmasters. It's not about me, it's about we. That's my big focus. So let's do this all a little bit in reverse. Communication. I like email. Not everybody does. I prefer email to getting 27 people on one group text and everybody having to see those texts over and over again. So I will share most of the information I share with you via email. Call me, text me, not a problem. I will probably call and text you as well. But for me, it's a little bit easier to share group information, spreadsheets, reports, all those things through email. So please check your email. And if the email I have for you doesn't seem to be the right one, please let me know that up front. The compassion, it's going to be an interesting year. We've been through an interesting year. The one coming up is going to be just as interesting, if not more. Many people are going to run to normal, which that would be very nice. And hopefully by the time we get to where we are right now next year, things look like they did a few years ago and they are pretty normal. But I'm going to encourage all of our clubs to be hybrid as much as they can, at least try to embrace it. All of us here today, that may not happen in person because some of us have distances to travel. Maybe we have a condition that makes COVID a much more scary reality than for somebody else. We don't want to force folks out into an environment they don't want to be in. And we get to have great speakers like Lark. The virtual world makes that possible. Shed and I have visited clubs in other countries. Shed and Jerome and I have been interviewing international board candidates from around the world. We don't get to do those things in person. The innovation that Zoom and Teams and Meet offer are wonderful. And we'll continue to take advantage of it as a district. Hopefully our clubs will, and hopefully that'll make your club visits a little easier, a little better. If you can go in person, great. We all miss that shaking of hands or bumping a fist, and there are some huggers in the group, so that may happen as well. Hopefully we can get out there and do that. Passion. Passion's what it's all about. We all care about our fellow Toastmasters. We're all excited. We're all passionate about learning. If there's any questions you have for me, let me know. For the trio in general, share amongst yourselves. We're all in this together. And to focus on passion, which is what makes Toastmasters so easy to share with everyone. The most passionate Toastmaster I know is the next person up, Mr. Shed Mayberry, our incoming Program Quality Director.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you for your clarity and thank you for your partnership throughout the year, you and Joanne. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, area directors and division directors, and everyone that's joining us today. I want to start off with a brief, short story. So one day, a mother made dinner after a hard day's work, and as she brought the plate to the table, it was eggs and burnt toast that she laid in front of the dad. The child immediately noticed the burnt toast. So the mother, she apologized for the burnt toast, and the dad said, "It's okay, honey, I love burnt toast." Later, when the child went to bed and the dad came to kiss her goodnight, he asked her, the child asked Dad, do you really like burnt toast? He hugged and said, your mother has had a difficult day and she is really tired. She went out of her way to prepare this meal for us, so why blame her and hurt her? Burnt toast has never hurt anyone, but your words can be very painful. The reason why I want to share this is I want to encourage everyone, I want to congratulate everyone for stepping up into these new roles. It is going to be a challenge. Effectively communicating with our members is the key, all right? Try to be positive in everything we do. If you cannot put out a positive message, reach out to one of the trio before you send that email, and we will try to work with you on that. A lot of business that we handle, even at the district level, goes back to the clubs. All right, the clubs, if you vote them in, you're the one who have to vote that member out or whatever, but we are here to help you and guide you if you have any issues. But we appreciate what all of you are doing. Like I say, you are not in this alone, as Dan said. We are here to help you. As I step into my next role, I don't know what my next step is going to bring, but hopefully there's a landing that I can continue to take in the next step after that. So I appreciate everyone going forward. As you go forward, we still have 3 weeks left in this year. So work with your counterparts as they close out the year so you can have a better understanding of what you're getting into. They should be mentoring you. And if they are not, reach out to them and ask for their mentorship. Communication is key. We all have lives outside of Toastmasters. So try to be timely in your communication. I suggest at least having a monthly communication with your club officers, executive team. And if you don't know how to set that up, get with us and we can show you how to do that. Send out a welcome email before you start getting into business. Send something out welcoming the new officers into their role and introduce yourself. All right, don't just jump directly into business. Have fun, learn, because this is all about a learning process, and develop that team. Like Dan said, the next person up is what we're looking for. New faces, new leadership is always a fresh start for an organization. A great boxer once said, as he laid on his back after getting knocked out, I can only go up from here. We've been through a year or more in this pandemic, all right? We have reached the bottom. It is time for us to start coming up, going up, all right? So as that boxer said, it's only one position I can go from here, and that is up. I do want to leave a brief report before I turn it over to our keynote speaker. We currently have 78 clubs in good standing, all right? The goal is to definitely get over 80, and I think we're going to reach that. We still have 3 weeks left, and I'm working with those clubs that are close. 91 club visits closed out. Excellent job. All right. We have 1 distinguished area currently, K42. So if you're representing that area, congratulations. We have 10 distinguished clubs, and we currently have 30 club officers have turned in their list already for the next year. So I will be sending out an email just as a reminder for everyone to get there, because that's easy, low-hanging fruit for the officers to turn those lists in to get off to a great start on being distinguished. The reason why we're all here, I want to introduce our guest speaker, Lark Doley, DTM, was the 2018-2019 Toastmasters International President. Lark often wears golden outfits at Toastmaster events to symbolize the value of Toastmasters, as she's wearing today. Lark lives in a lighthouse outside of Austin, Texas, overlooking Lake Travis, my hometown. The home was built by her late husband in honor of her late father-in-law, Arthur. Please welcome our speaker, my fellow Texan, Lark Doley.
Thank you, and good morning, District 22 leaders. It is truly a golden honor to be with you today and be with my fellow Texan as well. You'll hear more about him in just a moment. I celebrated my 30th anniversary in Toastmasters in September 2020. So in September, just a few months away, I will celebrate 31 years with Toastmasters. I would like to say that I joined Toastmasters immediately out of high school, but the first core value of Toastmasters is integrity. So I cannot tell a lie. I joined much later, but I wish I had joined right out of high school. Certainly, at least right out of college. Who knows where I would be today if I had done that. But good morning, District 22 leaders. Today, I want us to explore the golden benefits of serving in district leadership. Those of you who have already served a year or more in district leadership already know some of those golden benefits. And today you will have the opportunity to share those with everyone else. And those of you who have not yet served in district leadership, but this will be your first time in district leadership, I want you to think about what you want to gain from district leadership. And actually, now I am going to give you that opportunity. My chat master today is none other than your current club growth director, my fellow Texan, and soon to be your program quality director, Shed Mayberry. The way this works, as all of you know, because we are now so adept at Zoom, I want you to enter your answers to the questions in the Zoom chat. And then Shed is going to read aloud some of your answers. By the way, if you want to save all of the answers at the end of this meeting, what do? Simply save the chat. I try to remember to save the chat of every Zoom meeting so that I can go back and look at the golden messages that people leave in the chat. Let's begin. I want you to type into the chat very succinctly why you are serving in district leadership for the 2021-2022 year. So type into the chat why you are serving in district leadership. And as you are doing that, I will tell you that I have had the privilege to serve in almost every leadership role in Toastmasters. And my favorite role is still the role of area director. And why? Because it directly touches the clubs. Shed, what are they typing into the chat for the reason they are serving this coming year in district leadership?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, my fellow Texan. Most of the comments are to develop their leadership skills. I do believe that what keeps us in Toastmasters. We all join for better speaking, but leadership skills is what keeps us in Toastmasters. So most are saying to develop their leadership skills.
Even more. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shed.
Yes, ma'am.
The next question. What do you want to gain personally and professionally by serving as a district leader? Again, type into the chat what you want to gain personally and professionally by serving as a district leader. I always want to emphasize to Toastmasters members and to Toastmasters leaders at every level that they need to think of a personal goal and a professional goal for themselves in each of their leadership roles. We need to connect the dots for people to show them the value of Toastmasters to them personally and professionally, not just in attending Toastmasters meetings and participating with other members, but what am I taking away from that experience? How am I developing myself to be a better human being and to be better professionally? I certainly have grown in Toastmasters, and I will tell you, it supported me both personally and professionally. My last job, by the way, I retired on March the 31st. My last position at Maximus, I truly believe can be credited to Toastmasters. Shed, what are they saying in the chat?
The top three I want to share is networking, interacting with others, developing confidence in themselves, and service to others. So service to our members.
Beautiful. Those are wonderful reasons and what you will gain personally and professionally. My final question on this slide is, how do you want to positively impact your district and our organization through your district leadership service? So how do you want to make a positive impact as a district leader? Type your message into the chat. As I mentioned to you, my favorite leadership role in Toastmasters was that of area director. And back then it was actually called area governor. It is because I directly interfaced with clubs and had the opportunity to learn from them, to share with them, and to help them develop. Shed, what are they saying in the chat?
I love this one. I couldn't remember who said it, but stronger leadership skills, confidence in our leaders. I think that is very important. Even in the military, we had that. And a couple more was enthusiasm and recognizing and developing new leaders.
Wonderful. Absolutely. We need to do all of those things, and recognizing and grooming new leaders. Shed even mentioned this during his opening remarks. And certainly your incoming district director mentioned that we need to communicate and we need to have passion about what we're doing. We need to constantly be looking for new leaders and certainly encouraging all of our members to achieve their why they joined Toastmasters. Did you know that the leadership competencies that you can gain in each of the district leadership roles is noted out on the website? It is, and it's under District Leader Tools. So look at this. We have the leadership competencies for district director, program quality director, club growth director. And if you look at how they're categorized under skills, knowledge, characteristics, and attributes. And then under each category, the competencies are defined, and how you can gain those competencies. Evidence of gaining those competencies is another column on this list of competencies. I encourage you, if you have not looked at the list of competencies that you can gain in each district leadership role, that you do so after this meeting today. Admin manager, finance manager, public relations manager, the competencies are listed, along with division director and area director. Now, when we look at the skills that a division director can gain, look at these: strategic thinking and planning, empowering and developing members, coaching and mentoring, analytical skills. And again, it gives you an example of how you can gain those skills in the division director role. And look at the area directors. They gain the motivational skills to motivate people, coaching and mentoring, and analytical skills as well. And again, there are examples of how in that role they can gain those competencies. So when you think about developing yourself in a district leadership role, the competencies are already defined for you, and examples of how you gain those competencies are also defined. Under district leadership tools, as I said, you will find competencies, but look at all the other resources that you will find to support you as a district leader. And a reference manual that you need to keep handy is the District Leadership Handbook. I encourage you to read it cover to cover, and I'll give you an example of this. When I served as district governor the first time, one of my area directors could not attend most of the district executive committee meetings due to a conflict in his work schedule. But he read the district leadership handbook cover to cover and did everything it said. In addition to chartering a new club, it was in the handbook, so he did it. I encourage you to make that reference manual a part of the files and to reference it regularly. And if you do, you will see that immediately following the cover is the organizational chart for Toastmasters International. Do you know the complete organizational structure of our global organization? When I joined Toastmasters, I had no idea. I simply knew about my club and I was proud to be a member of my club. As soon as I learned about the area leadership role by attending an area contest, I was interested in that leadership role. But look at the different team members of an area, and then look at the different team members of a division and a district, regions, and the board of directors, supported by the world headquarters staff who supports all of us, from the member to the board of directors. And did you notice that the member is at the top of our organization? Now, I had the privilege to serve at the bottom of the organization, but I'm proud to say I'm back at the top of the organization now. What about you? And the reason that we all serve in leadership is to fulfill the missions of our organization. I love how we have simplified our mission statements. The international mission statement is we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Simple and elegant. The district mission, we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Simple and elegant. The club mission, a little more complicated, but power-packed with important words. Supportive and positive learning experience. Members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. But the next one, I wonder if you've ever seen. Leadership education philosophy. Have you ever seen this one? This message is powerful, and it is included in your district leader handbook. I want to read this, and I want you to read it again and again in your district leader handbook. Leaders achieve results for their districts by giving priority attention to the needs of their members and their fellow district leaders. Members are the most important, but we are here to support one another, as our leaders who spoke first today have mentioned. Consider yourself a steward of your district resources, human, financial, and physical. Leadership is a lifelong journey that includes a desire to serve others and a commitment to lead. Strive to be trustworthy, self-aware, humble, caring, visionary, empowering, and relational. Isn't that a golden message for all of us as leaders in our organization? And it's included in the reference manual you need to keep handy, the District Leader Handbook. This district organization graphic is also included in the District Leader Handbook. And I love graphical representations of our organization. The district director is the CEO of the district, is responsible for everything that happens within the district. And they have a supportive team. They have the program quality director, the club growth director, the public relations manager, administration manager, finance manager, and then the division and area directors. That is the district leadership structure. Now it's an opportunity for you to type into the chat again. I want you to succinctly tell me what an area is. So what is an area within a district? What is that? What is the definition of an area? Type your answer into the chat. And Shed, as they type their answers into the chat, let us all know what those answers are.
Will do. I'm waiting.
All right. I know that these District 22 leaders are an intelligent group of leaders, so I have no doubt you'll see some answers very soon.
Right now, I have a group of 4 to 6 clubs, a group similar in geographical area.
Ah. All right.
Yep.
Anything else? All right. Very good. Absolutely. So it is a grouping of 4 to 6 clubs, and oftentimes it is within a specific geography. I can tell you that in Texas, we sometimes decide that areas are, we mix it up. So we may not have them exactly geographically allocated, but I think that's a golden idea to do that. Of course, in the world of Zoom, it really doesn't matter where they are, but as your incoming district director said, hopefully we will start hybrid meetings. And then if you want to go in person, you can. If you need to access online, I hope that you will have that capability. All right, Golden District 22 leaders, well done. In the District Leadership Handbook, it also talks about the area purpose, and it talks about area councils. You are going to learn much more about areas and divisions in upcoming training modules that you will have today and 2 weeks from today. But I do want to call your attention to the very first purpose statement under areas. Ensure each club fulfills its responsibilities to its members. And then it says to become a distinguished club. What I would say is that it's not the distinguished that matters. It is fulfilling the needs of the members. And if you fulfill the needs of the members, not only will you be distinguished, but you will be president's distinguished, because you will be meeting the needs of the members and encouraging more and more members to reap the golden benefits of Toastmasters. Now, for those of you who are serving as an area director this year, or those of you who have already served as an area director, I want to find out what you think the role of area director is. So very succinctly in the chat, type your definition of the area director role. Now, I already showed you the purpose, so you may have gleaned some thoughts from that, but type your definition into the chat. What is the area director role, or what do you want to achieve in that role? You can either define it or tell me what you want to achieve in that role. As I said, I had so much fun in that role, and I had a pretty large area back then. I had 6 clubs, and then I added a 7th club to my area. I had never visited other clubs before I became an area governor. I loved visiting clubs and finding out how they took what I thought was a standard meeting format and made it unique to their club. It astounded me how clubs could have a unique perspective on a common program. I loved the role. I loved learning and I loved sharing. Shed, what are they putting down as the definition for the area director role?
I love some of the comments. One is to be the trusted advisor for their area, support and help the members that fall under them. Is to encourage the clubs to stay energized and supported during the pandemic and even afterwards.
Oh, those are beautiful definitions. Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Shed. Becoming a trusted advisor. I will tell you that that is absolutely your first goal as an area director. And Shed mentioned that you need to send out a welcome email to your clubs, introducing yourself and thanking them, complimenting them for serving their members. Absolutely. You need to build that trust. And that is the perfect initial step to build that trust. Thank you. Let's look at the definition of the area director role. As I said, you will have specific sessions on each aspect of the area director role. So we're not going to talk about these responsibilities because there are sessions that will go into depth into these responsibilities. But what I do want you to understand is we already defined the district mission as building new clubs and supporting all clubs in achieving excellence. And area directors, you are the direct liaison with the clubs in your area. And we do want you to support each of those clubs in achieving excellence. And as I said, each club is unique. So the support that you may give to one club may not be the same support that you give to another club. You need to observe each club, learn from each club, learn their strengths, learn their areas for improvement, and support them. Compliment them on their strengths and support them in the areas where they need improvement. Now, we defined an area. Let's define a division. Type into the chat your definition of a division. And by the way, since the district structure has two titles that begin with a D, it is important that you understand the difference in division director and district director. Organizations use different organizational structures. And so for us, the district director is the CEO and the district structure is the highest level within that leadership role. Shed, what is their definition of division?
A collection of areas that come together to support members, a group of areas within a graphical area, group of areas. So that's basically what they're putting in out there.
Wonderful.
That's some great comment. Division is made up of 4 to 6 areas in a graphical region.
Thank you so much, Shed. Absolutely. So a division is a group of areas. And I think we can start with 3 areas in a division, but absolutely. It is a group of areas. And they do have the common goal of supporting every club in achieving excellence within each area. The division director supports them in that. So let's look at the purpose of a division. And again, in your district leader handbook, it has the purpose defined, and then it talks about division councils, area councils, division councils, opportunities for learning. Again, let's look at the very first purpose statement for the division. Provide district support and resources to clubs and members through their area directors. The division director is there to support the area directors and to support them in supporting the clubs. And obviously, clubs are made of members, so ultimately we want to support the members of every club. Division director role. Now, division directors, it's time for you to state your responsibilities or what you want to achieve in your role this year. And for those of you who are serving as area directors, what would you like to see from your division director this year? So division directors, you can type in your responsibilities or what you want to achieve. And area directors, you can type into the chat what you want your division director, how you want your division director to support you this year. So type into the chat.
It's a lot of thinking going on in this one.
Uh,
I don't see anything right now.
Well, and you know, Shed, we can actually call on people if we don't get responses. And so you as the chat master, you can just call on a division director if you'd like.
I have one that I love to call on, Ryan.
All right, call on Ryan.
Ryan Van Dusen.
And Ryan can unmute and tell us. So Ryan, what is your priority as a division director?
I'm getting be available from a couple of division directors, be available.
Okay.
Establish executive teams, strengthen each area and club. Build a team of strong and supportive area directors.
Great. And did Ryan respond, or is he just avoiding us?
Sorry, I had to step out of the room and check on my daughter. So
Oh, that's okay, Ryan. That's all right. Look, we're not trying to pick on you. It's fine.
Oh.
We were just asking about the division director role. And so now that you have unmuted, though, tell us in one sentence, what is your priority for your term as division director?
support the area directors and the members of all the clubs.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ryan, so much.
I like to call on him because he's my successor when I was.
I got it. I bet he'll get you back though, Shed, for doing that. So again, look at this golden list of division director responsibilities. One of the emphasis I want to make on this role is that the divisions do need to consider how they can add clubs to their divisions. We would love for every single area to add a club, but division directors, you are responsible for making sure that we continue to share the gold of Toastmasters by not only adding members to our clubs, but also adding clubs to our divisions and our districts. The district focus, we have said that the district mission is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. A couple of years ago, I actually added a word to the district mission. It's not been accepted yet by Toastmasters International, but I will tell you that I believe that the district needs to build new sustainable clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. So let's talk about the district focus then. Within that district mission, I believe that your district and every district wants every single club to be a quality club. In order to meet the needs of our members, we need to have quality clubs throughout the world of Toastmasters. In order to have those quality clubs, our club officers need to be trained. And your district, along with districts around the world, conduct Toastmasters Leadership Institutes and makeup sessions so that every club officer has the opportunity for training. After those club officers are trained, or actually as soon as they are elected, we want them to be engaged. So in order for a club to be successful, the club officers need to attend the training and then implement that training in their clubs. They need to fulfill the responsibilities of their club officer roles. We have the Distinguished Club Program, and there are a set of 10 goals that we want our clubs to achieve. If our clubs achieve all of those goals, then we believe that the members will receive a quality experience in their clubs. Again, it's not about goal achievement. It's about providing that golden club experience. And if they achieve those goals, they will have proven to their members and to all of us that they are focused on the right things and are providing a quality club experience to their members. We want all of our members to achieve their My Why. Do you remember the My Why campaign? Absolutely. And Richard Peck published his My Why. we join Toastmasters for a reason. And I believe we join for an initial reason. And then we need to make sure that every member, after they achieve their first My Why, decides what their second My Why is, their third, and we want them to remain a lifelong member of Toastmasters to continuously be learning and developing their skills. Member achievements are critical to the success of our members, our clubs, our entire organization. In order to accomplish any of these, we need to lead through collaborative teams. And as you noticed on the Toastmasters organizational chart, in your district leader handbook, some assistants were recommended for area directors, division directors, and I believe that any leadership role could have assistants or teams. So think about the assistants or the teams that you can create. And then each of us should have a mentor in each leadership role. As president, I had 3 past presidents as my mentors that year. So who is your mentor for the upcoming year? And if we do all of these things and focus on all of these things, there will be golden benefits for all of us, from the member through every leadership level in our organization. Our number one priority are quality clubs. Do you recognize these people? I went to your Facebook page and found all types of photographs, and I'm using them throughout if you hadn't noticed. Quality club guidelines. How does a club achieve quality? Well, look at these different guidelines, and let's highlight some of these. Club officers attend training, and then, as we said, they not only attend it, but they must fulfill their roles and responsibilities after that training. They need to be sure that they fulfill their roles and responsibilities. Then meetings need to be well planned, well organized, educational, and fun. Our members need to be actively participating in the educational program to achieve their first My Why, second, third, etc. Member accomplishments need to be recognized, and we can use the moments of truth to evaluate our clubs. All of these other guidelines are important. I just highlighted a few of them, and you as district leaders need to make sure that your clubs know these quality guidelines and that they are fulfilling these quality guidelines. They have all these resources available to them, and they have you as personal resources. But the Moments of Truth, Successful Club Series, membership growth, additional membership, Master Your Meetings, all of these resources and so many more are available to them on the Toastmasters website, and on your website, there are resources available as well. Does anybody remember seeing this quality club checklist? I love this checklist, but by the way that you will find this is looking up the wow factor on the Toastmasters International website. Now, this was focused on pre-Zoom, pre-COVID, but as we get into our in-person meetings again, then all of these questions will apply, but you could add your own questions to this. I believe that every member of every club should complete this quality club checklist, send it off to their club officers, let their club officers evaluate how well they're doing. We talked about Moments of Truth. That is an amazing presentation and workbook to work through. But this quality club checklist has 50 questions that if our members respond to it, we can find out so much information about how well they believe their club is doing. Again, it's something that you can recommend to your clubs. Quality club meetings. I have loved the Zoom opportunities. As was said already this morning, the ability to literally travel the globe, the ability for me to be with you today, and for Linda and Jesse to be with you today. We don't have the expense of travel because we can be with you online. What's better than that? When we think about the sergeant at arms role, whether it is in person or via Zoom, the sergeant at arms is responsible for greeting the guests, right? And greeting the members as they come in. Well, has your sergeant at arms been doing a warm up before your Zoom meetings? Has your sergeant at arms been capturing the contact information for the guests and asking them how they heard about the club and what they want to gain from Toastmasters? An opportunity for both Zoom or hybrid meetings. Presiding officer, have you ever thought about asking how Toastmasters has positively impacted the members of that club during the time between club meetings? Have any of you ever thought of that? Asking the members how Toastmasters is developing them personally and professionally. If we share that and there's a guest there, they're going to hear the connection between Toastmasters and skills. It's always important to fill vacant roles before we start our meeting, if there are any vacant roles. I'm sure you probably don't attend any club meetings where there's a vacant role before you start, right? And then we want every single one of our meetings to be educational and enjoyable. As Ralph Smedley said, we learn best in times of enjoyment. We want every one of our club meetings to be a quality meeting from an educational perspective, a learning perspective, and an enjoyment perspective. And presiding officers of clubs, do they close by asking for guest comments and then does the presiding officer or the vice president membership ask the guests if they want to join and perhaps invite them to stay a few minutes after the club meeting to talk to them about membership? I also recommend oftentimes that club business be done after the meeting in case the guests need to leave. These are just some quality club meeting recommendations. Hybrid meetings. I was thrilled that your district director mentioned hybrid club meetings. As we move out of the pandemic, I agree that there are still going to be members who may want to attend via Zoom. And by the way, if your club has added members outside of your hometown or outside of your home state, maybe added members, global members from other continents, then guess what? You want to have a hybrid club meeting to keep those members, don't you? Well, the Qatar Toastmasters in Doha has been conducting hybrid meetings for some time. And in one of the latest Toastmasters magazines, there was an article about how to conduct effective hybrid meetings. So I hope that all of you will encourage your clubs as we move out of the pandemic to conduct hybrid meetings. Does it take some tech-savvy members in order to effectively conduct hybrid meetings? Yes. Would one of those tech-savvy members be me? No. But I bet that every single club around the globe has at least one tech-savvy member. Last week, I was shocked the day before one of my club meetings that I received a message that said, "We're conducting a hybrid meeting tomorrow. We'd love to have you in person, but if not, join us via Zoom." I had no idea that the club officers had been discussing hybrid meetings. Not only had they discussed them, but they had developed a plan and they executed a beautiful hybrid meeting. What about your clubs? And do they use club meeting management software like Free Toast Host or perhaps Easy Speak? My district tends to have clubs mainly on Easy Speak, but either one of these platforms is a meeting management tool that can support our clubs in being quality clubs. Have you noticed that there are self-evaluation forms for our club officers? On the club officer roles web page, there are tutorials. There are summaries of the responsibilities of each club officer role. And there are self-evaluation forms. I'll tell you, I'm very proud of this because this occurred during my time on the executive committee. And this was one of the goals that I personally had during my tenure as an executive committee member on the board of directors. I so wanted our leaders to have an opportunity for evaluations, just as our speakers have an opportunity for evaluations. And by the way, these are self-evaluation forms, but if you want to share them with other members or with the other club officers, you can do that. But please encourage your clubs to use these forms. And guess what? We've also developed 360-degree evaluations for the club leaders and for district leaders. So not only can our clubs self-evaluate their club officers, but they can also do a 360 evaluation, and you as district leaders can conduct your own 360-degree evaluation. I think these are new golden leadership tools in our tool chest. The club success plan. Have all our clubs developed a club success plan? Do they even know what a club success plan is? Hopefully they do because they've attended training, but they need to fulfill that club success plan, and they need to use it as a document throughout the year to chart their progress. And the last part of the club success plan is the Distinguished Club Program. Do they understand the Distinguished Club Program? Do they understand the 10 goals? Do they understand the dashboard where they can chart their progress? They certainly need to understand it, don't they? And our members, pathways. It's getting better, right? We're so fortunate to have an online educational program, especially when COVID struck our world. We have 11 paths, over 300 competencies that our members can gain. And I know, because I've seen it on your Facebook page, that you continue to conduct workshops to make sure that every member, every club understands pathways, understands the value of pathways, how Basecamp works, and how they need to enter educational achievements, both in Basecamp and in Club Central. You are here to support the members and the clubs in your district. So how can you, as district leaders, support the clubs in District 22? What I would like each of you to do now is to enter into the chat one way that you can support the members and clubs in your district. So type in just one way that you can support the members and clubs in your district. And Shed, as they type their answers into the chat, please read them off.
I have actively engaged in club meetings, communication, being available. I like that one.
Yeah, I love it.
Ask for members' goals and brainstorm with them how to accomplish them. Thinking outside the box. Listen to what the club, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. Give me one more.
Be a role model.
All of those are brilliant. It is so imperative that the clubs know what each of their members wants to achieve. Again, they're my why, but we need to not only know what they want to achieve, but also how they want to achieve it. So it is very, very important that you encourage your clubs and the officers of those clubs to literally have every member fill out a member survey at least annually. Ask them what they want to achieve, how they want to achieve it, when they want to achieve it, so that the Vice President Education can make sure that they are scheduled at club meetings to fulfill their projects and to fulfill their goals for that year. golden recommendations for how you can support the clubs and members in your district. The first thing that area directors and division directors need to do, along with the other district leaders, is to analyze, evaluate each club in the district. And we have the dashboard in order to do that. So we can analyze the strengths of each club in the district, and we can analyze their opportunities for improvement. So it is vitally important, area directors and division directors, that you do that. And then you tailor your support to their needs. And when we look at this, we talked about building a trusting relationship as the very first action item for each of you. Making sure that you talk about the value of training and communicate when those trainings will be taking place. And then check and see which club officers have attended and which haven't. And again, meet with the club officers, talk to them about the value of training and encourage them to attend the training. Ask them how you can help them. So don't construct your own plan without even discussing it with them. Ask them how you can help them. You've already evaluated their club, and so you have some ideas, but learn from them what they want. And then because you've analyzed the club, you can then offer better recommendations for your role. Ask to attend club officer meetings. So this is one that I have always encouraged area directors to do, and that is to not only attend club meetings, but ask them if you can simply attend a club officer meeting to listen and learn. You may want to write that down. Ask them if you can attend a club officer meeting to listen and learn. You're not there to tell, dictate. You are there to listen and learn. If they ask you some questions, then you can share with them. But the bottom line is, again, you are evaluating their leadership and how well the club officers are working together and how well they are fulfilling their responsibilities. No better way than to be there in person. Always start with complimenting your clubs. Encourage them to use moments of truth and the other tools that we've talked about, and the other tools you'll learn more about today. Participate in their club meetings with presentations. So area directors, when you're attending a club meeting, present and think about what it is they need to hear. Present that. Again, ask them what they'd like you to present. But again, you probably have an idea of what they need. So you may be able to steer the conversation in that direction if they say, oh, I don't care what you present. Think about what they need and then present. Encourage club role exchanges, joint meetings. Encourage them to Zoom with clubs outside of your district. And remember the club resources. Club officer resources, the club management resources, so many resources available to you. A few other questions for you, area directors. How will you build a trusting relationship with your clubs and club officers? We've already shared some ideas with you, and Shed shared an idea at the very beginning, the welcome letter, which I think is a golden idea. How will area directors communicate with their clubs? We've talked about communication. And again, both Dan and Shed talked about communication and how vital it is. To me, it's the number one leadership principle, communication. So how will you communicate with your clubs? How often will you communicate with your clubs? And to whom will you communicate? Will you communicate with the president, all the club officers? I will just tell you, you will talk more about communication today, but I encourage you to communicate with all the club officers so you don't have to worry about whether or not the information is being passed down from the president to the education vice president, et cetera. Now, you may want to have specific communications with the presidents, fine, or with other subsets of the officers, but also think about involving all the officers. How often should you attend club meetings? I will say as often as you possibly can. You're only required to attend club meetings twice a year. But let me ask you this. Will you develop a relationship with a club if you only attend twice a year? With Zoom, attend as often as you can. And I will tell you my golden principle of attending club meetings. You will know when you have attended the best number of club meetings when they do not introduce you as an area director. If they do not introduce you as an area director, then you have become one of them. You are a part of their club. You are a part of their family. So I hope you'll attend as often as you can. And how often will you attend club officer meetings? As often as they'll let you, is what I would say to that one. Area council meetings. You will learn all about area council meetings, but right now I want you to type into the chat what your definition of an area council meeting is. So what do you think an area council meeting is? Type into the chat what you think an area council meeting is.
I'll read them off as they come in.
That sounds great, Shed. Thank you.
Yes, we do. Someone say, do we have these in our district? Yes, we do.
Yes. Oh, and I hope you have more and more of them year after year. And again, it is in the training and they talk more about it this time. So I'm very excited about that.
One put in meeting between area director and club presidents.
Okay. Anyone else?
I usually say at least to have the club presidents and the VP of education at least at a minimum.
All right. And the right answer is area council meetings should consist of the presidents, the vice president's education, and the vice president's membership. But if I were you, area directors, I would invite all of the club officers. Include all of them. Ask them all to attend your area council meetings. Area council meetings, again, we only have to conduct them twice a year. I hope you'll conduct them as often as possible. I would say at least quarterly. Why do you conduct these? To me, it is the best way to share best practices among the clubs. It is a great way for the stronger clubs in your area to be able to share their best practices with perhaps some of the struggling clubs in your area. They will hopefully help you achieve stronger clubs throughout your area. How do you decide on topics? What I would say is, what do the clubs need? And again, what time of year is it? Is it time for club officers to be trained? So depending on the time of year, what do we need to emphasize? Depending on the strengths and weaknesses of your clubs, what do you need to emphasize? Who creates the agenda? I think it can be a collaborative effort. Who participates? I would say it is not good for you to be a talking head throughout that area council meeting. I would delegate the responsibilities for each agenda item to one officer of each of your clubs, and make sure that you have each club represented by doing an agenda item. And finally, as I said, I would conduct them as often as possible, as often as needed, but 2 is the requirement. Have you seen this area club visit report? Well, maybe not, because you're just doing the training today. But this area club visit report, if you look at it, first impressions, fellowship, variety, communication, program planning, and meeting organization, does that sound familiar to you? If you conduct moments of truth in your clubs, it should look familiar. Those are the elements of moments of truth. And then at the end, does this look familiar to you? Does this look like the Distinguished Club program? Yes. So what do we want to achieve by your club visits? We want to find out whether each club is a quality club, and if they have strengths and weaknesses, what are those strengths and weaknesses? Are they following the Distinguished Club program? And who is expected to achieve educational goals? Is the Vice President Public Relations promoting the clubs? Is the Vice President membership encouraging those guests to join? Are the club officers attending training? And are we filling out the paperwork? So again, the area visits help us understand how our clubs are progressing and what their strengths and weaknesses are. We have area success plan, division success plans, district success plans, and we have club success plans, correct? It is important that we complete these documents, and again, not just for completion's sake, but to use them throughout our term of office, to refer back to them. What were our goals that we wanted to achieve? And then ultimately, we need to measure our success. And our success as district leaders is measured by the engagement of our members and the quality of our clubs. And the way that we measure that is through the Distinguished Club program. It is wonderful to see that Springfield Toastmasters Club is already a President's Distinguished Club for the 2020-2021 term, and that a Taste of Success is Select Distinguished. And as Shed said, there are 10 clubs in District 22 that are distinguished or better now. We still have 18 more days in order for other clubs to achieve distinguished or better status. And this tells us the health of the clubs in our district. And as Shed said, Area 42 in Division K is already a distinguished area. So again, we measure success through these numerical metrics, but what they do is they point to the quality of our clubs, member achievements, and our achievements as district leaders. And we can't do any of this without teamwork. It is imperative that we form teams. The session immediately following this is all about how to develop successful teams. So I want you to listen up to that session by Jesse Oakley. We should have teams at the club level. I will tell you, I am so thrilled that 2 of my 4 clubs have teams. One of my clubs has an education team, a membership team, and a PR team. So they have 3 teams. They are grooming new leaders by having those teams. But what about you as area leaders, division leaders, and district leaders? Club growth, program quality, PRM, district director. What teams will you form? When you create teams, you have to be specific about your expectations. I will tell you that I know a district director who selected a retention chair, and that retention chair didn't mind sending out emails, but wasn't willing to pick up the telephone when emails, text didn't work. So you need to be specific about your expectations for each of these team leaders and the members of the teams. And remember, at every leadership level, we gain competencies that will help us personally and professionally. We need assistants and mentors to help us. There are goals that you need to consider for your first quarter, your second quarter, your third quarter, and your fourth quarter. I will tell you that Brian Moran divides up a year into 12 weeks and sets goals for each of those 12 weeks. I encourage you to do the same. District 22, it has been my golden honor to present to you today, and I thank you for stepping up to golden service. And I also want to thank my hometown Texas Chatmaster, Shed Mayberry, for being my chat master today. Back to you, District 22.
Thank you, Lark. I just want to say excellent job, Lark. Great information and presentation. This is why we have training. Everyone always say, why are we having training again? If you're a new leader, this is why. If you're a leader that's been in this position before, you got some new information. This is why we do training. So I love training. The next person forward and sharing that. I had a couple people already say, you know, reaching out for mentors and stuff like that. So keep us involved, and you are not in this alone. I will turn it back over to Dan. Great job.
Thank you, Shed, and thank you very much, Lark. Well, now it's time for a short break. I'll put a clock up so we know that we have 5 minutes, and then we'll get on to our next section. Thank you all very much. And again, thank you very much, Lark.
And during the break, if anybody has any questions, feel free to communicate. Great job, Lark. Fellow Texan.
Hey, Shed, what are those 12 weeks broken down into?
12 weeks. I must have missed that one.
Each quarter of the year, each quarter of the Toastmasters year. Yeah. So July, August, September, then October, November, December, January, February, March, and April, May, June.
But does he have specific goals that he sets for those?
Oh, well, now Brian Moran, he's a consultant who talks about dividing your life into 12-week years. I specifically am saying that I think you need to do it for your Toastmasters leadership role. So he is just a general consultant, and he's got the book, The 12-Week Years. But I encourage you to do that in Toastmasters, because interestingly enough, if you look at our program, it divides very, very well into quarters and setting goals per quarter of the Toastmasters year. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You are so welcome.
All right, Dave, you motivated? You motivated? You ready to go? July 1st.
Let's get her done.
Let's get her done. Well, it's gonna be a great year. We can only go up from here. You missed my little speech. I can't remember who said it, either George Foreman or Muhammad Ali, but he said a great boxer once said, as he got knocked out, was laying on his back, well, I can only go up from here.
Yeah, when you're laying on the ground, the only way to do is look up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry I was late. As I see it's recorded, I'll have to get back and watch some I missed. We signed up 2 new members this morning at Tabletop.
That's a great reason to be late. That's good. Signed up 2 new members. All right.
I'm going to stop recording for a second, and then I'll start for the next session.
Yes, sir.
And that way we'll have smaller files.
Quick question.
Uh-huh.
Do I have a capability to share my slides for the next presentation?
You should be. Yes, sir. You should have capability to share.
Okay, just want to be sure.
You want to double check real quick and try? Yeah, you should be able to.
All righty.
And your hair looks great.
Actually, you can't because I'm sharing the clock.
Looks like mine. Oh, he can't share it now. Yeah, because of the clock.
Okay, that's cool.
Hey, Rob, where are these recordings going to be on the D22 website?
You know, I think I'll just keep them on my computer.
At the moment, it is being live streamed on YouTube.
What's the link for YouTube?
So our YouTube, I'll go to YouTube and search for District 22 Toastmasters.
Okay.
And by the way, we are 14 subscriptions short of 100. Once we reach 100, we can get our own URL.
Nice.
Pop over there and click subscribe.
Definitely.
Can I do that while this is going on?
Yes, you can.
The power of technology, Dave. Hey, Dave, I was gonna say, did you sign them up in Pathways also? Or that's gonna be? I was gonna say,
Yeah, we'll get all that squared away.
Okay. I'm gonna say that's always the next step. Once we get the membership in, next step over to this next chair, Pathways.
We had mentors assigned today, so that was good too.
Hey, you on it, man. You on it.
It's nice getting your own YouTube URL, and I just got my own URL as well for YouTube.
Oh, and I did put I put a couple of links in the text throughout Lark's presentation. What you can do is just kind of do a save chat later on instead of trying to cut and paste all those out. But we'll do kind of a send of a file afterwards as well, as far as links and things.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I was going to say, I know I was a chat master, but you was the man. Thank you. So Sharon Roberts.
So Jesse, I am so sorry I can't stay. In District 22, I can't stay. I have other commitments today, but it has been golden being with you. And I will definitely send the presentation. Rob, I don't know if it will go over in one. I may have to have you send me a Google Docs folder and put it in that, but I'll try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't, I'll just send you a message.
That'll work. No problem.
Okay.
And then I'll get it out to everybody.
It's always good to see you, Lark.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank
Lark,
you.
have a great
all.
day. Enjoy,
Thank
enjoy
you.
God's country. God's country.
All right.
Enjoy.
Bye, everybody.
All righty, we'll give just a second or two for everybody to get back.
All right, I'm going to silent mode. I'm quiet the rest of the meeting.
Right.
Jesse, do you want to double check and make sure it'll allow you to share before I intro you so you're good to go?
Got it.
Nice. All righty. Well, I assume we're all back. We will trust that we are. We're ready for our next part. 19 years ago, Jesse Oakley III joined his hometown Toastmasters club, Star Masters Toastmasters. As a division governor in 2008-2009, he not only helped his division reach President's Distinguished Honors, he also helped 4 out of 5 areas reach President's Distinguished Honors, and the 5th was Select Distinguished. For the 2012-2013 Toastmasters year, Jesse became a District 33 governor, serving 200 plus Toastmasters clubs in Southern Nevada and Central California communities. In 2015, he and his wife served as host district co-chairs for the Toastmasters International Convention in Caesars Palace. And for the 2016-2017 Toastmasters year, Jesse served as a region advisor working with district leaders in California, Nevada, Oregon, and Hawaii. Fellow Toastmasters and happy people, without any further ado, help me wish a warm welcome with applause to our past region advisor, distinguished Toastmaster, Jesse Oakley III.
A team plays better than a group of individuals. A team plays better than a group of individuals. Let me say that one more time. A team plays better than a group of individuals. Happy people of District 22 Toastmasters, it is with great pleasure for me to give you this presentation on developing successful teams. And I feel truly excited and I feel grateful and an opportunity to talk about wonderful, successful teams within your community. It is very important to actually have these successful teams because without teamwork, you wouldn't have the big movies. Without teamwork, you wouldn't have people helping out at your day jobs. And without good teamwork, you will not have the Los Angeles Lakers as they got bounced early into the playoffs. Yes, I went there. Now it is time for me to go right into our presentation. And as you see the session agenda, we'll talk about 4 different subjects. 1, being your team member. 2, being the team agreement. 3, being team motivation. And 4, being conflict resolution within a team. And our objectives is to recount the roles of area and division directors, identify members of areas and division councils and ways councils offer support, describe a team charter and its benefits, build trust and set expectations using team charters, apply the 5 principles of motivation, and use conflict resolutions for techniques. The purpose of this section is to actually introduce the area and division councils and the role of the councils play for supporting areas and divisions. Right now, we are at the area director, and I do need a little help here with reading the comments for what I'm about to ask. And for those people that know the different answers that I'm going to ask, feel free to use the chat. And the question I have for you is, what are the area director's main responsibilities? You can go ahead and type in chat if you like. All right, support club meetings in their goals. That's good. And anybody else? Helps clubs be successful. That's fantastic. Support clubs with the needs. All right. To be in contact with officers in each clubs and find new clubs. Oh my goodness, you have a plethora of answers here. All right. Now, some of the area director's responsibilities, you're hitting the nail right on the head. But of course, you want to provide support for the regular clubs as well as visit every club that you have a chance to get. Toastmasters mentioned that you have to visit them twice a year. But when it comes to building that communication and connection, does visiting the club twice a year really work? No. You have to establish a great connection and communication. And sometimes that involves visiting more than twice a year. And the more that you do that, the better the communication and connection that you get with your clubs. You also want to strive for achievement within the area success plan, as well as report to the division director with the clubs, as well as your own district. That is a very important responsibilities of your area director. Next, let's go next here. And right here, you have a team with your area director. Now, for some people, they do have this in different districts. They have an area director, an area secretary. Of course, you have the club presidents, the vice president of education, vice president of membership. And there's also something here that's very interesting. The assistant area director program quality and the assistant area director club growth. Now, there are certain districts that do have this, but there are other districts that do not have this as of yet. But these are some great ideas to have when it comes to your area team. Area director, you do not have to do this alone, because if you get to think of other people that can help you out in this process, you'll be better off in the long run. The area director has a team that people to look out for advice and support in the meeting of their goals. And this you could say affects comprises you of your area council. Oh my goodness. Now it comes to, whoops, let's go back here. Pardon me, I jumped the gun too soon. Now, when it comes to an area director of program quality, can anyone tell me, just give me a good idea on what an area director of program quality does or would do? Go ahead and you can use the chat. Okay, assist with pathway adoptions. They develop engaging meetings for clubs in specific areas, educational focus. That's very good. Track educational goals. That's very nice, yes. These are the good examples on what an assistant area director for program quality can do. Yes, increase membership and support club goals, that's right. And if you notice with the area director of program quality, it does mirror the program quality director that you would see in the district. Districts have their program quality directors. Areas would have their area director of program quality. So it does mirror each other in different levels, whether it be the area, division, or the district. Now let's go right into the area director for assistant area director for club growth. What do you think that the assistant area of club growth would do? You can go ahead and use the chat. Recruitment in specific areas. That's good. Focus on helping VP membership and public relations. That's great. Okay, grow the area, demo meetings, etc. Grow. All right. That's fantastic to hear. And it is very awesome that you can recruit these people to actually help you out with the program quality as well as club growth, and help find out needs of the club and help them find members and obtain growth for each individual. Fantastic answers, as well as strengthen club and increase development opportunities. Fantastic answers, everybody. Up next, we're going to go right into division director. Now, how many division directors do we have in this district by chance? 6, right? Okay, we do have 6 division directors. And for the people that are out there, what do you think the division director's jobs and responsibilities are? Feel free to use the chat. And division directors, what do they do? Oh, there we go. Support members for area directors, provide support for area directors. That's great. To link to the clubs and the districts to carry out the program goals. Yep, liaison between area and districts. Mentor areas and directors. Yep, support. That's great. Mentor support the area directors while focusing on their division success plans. That's also good. And we also have responsibilities that they also serve as a division council chair for their meetings, as well as coordinate and conduct division events, for example, like the TLIs, Toastmasters Leadership Institutes, that can also be helped. The division directors can also support that, as well as different contests and the different environments as well. Don't worry, Cheryl. If you have trouble with your connections, feel free to come back and we'll all be here for you. All right. It is very important to actually have the division director serve the different roles as well as the area, but they're also seen as a very interesting person. Excuse me. They are between the area as well as the district. On one side, they work with the other division directors as well as districts because they are one of the top tier types of persons that helps out with the district. And on the other end, they work with the areas to focus on how the area teams could be better, as well as the different clubs within the areas. So it's always important that the division director knows the roles and responsibilities. But yet, like the area, you also have a division team. And the division team comprises of the division director, the area directors, as well as, get this, assistant division director of program quality and the assistant division director of club growth. And we already covered the area, what an area level would do for program quality, as well as the club growth. Now, for the program quality, what are some of the things that the program quality for the assistant division director would do on a division level? Feel free to use the chat.
Could you repeat that question again?
Okay. What would the assistant division director of program quality would do on a division level? Okay, help organize contests. That's great. And I also want to add on there that the area, they want to focus on how the clubs are doing with their educationals and everything else, and how they become a distinguished club. But the division can also help out by focusing on how areas can become distinguished. So that's one thing that the program quality for division directors, assistant division director of program quality can do. Pardon me. They can ensure that training is attended by the members within the areas for the divisions. Yes. Track the area for performance. Yes. Thank you. Help the areas directors with struggling clubs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And these are some of the examples on how assistant division directors for program qualities, what they can do for your division team, and also help with training contests and distinguished training development. Oh yes, that is truly fantastic. Now let's go right into the assistant division director of club growth. what do you think this position will do in the division level? All right. Is anyone, you can go ahead and use the chat for the club growth. Look for potential clubs, great. Help to identify where clubs are missing, good. Work with the area directors to provide support for new members, great. Public relations. Well, my question was, what would an assistant division director of club growth do on a division level? And we're already getting some great answers here. Look for corporate club opportunities as businesses reopen and come back to their campuses. Fantastic answer, yes. And it is always important that we get together and actually help out with rebuilding, especially after these pandemic times. And yes, work with area directors on reviewing each club status and assist with the club success plans. Coach clubs on growth, help discover new club potentials. Fantastic. These are all great answers, everybody, for the division team. As we look at the different process here, when it comes to division director as well as area director, you notice that there is a certain connection and a certain link between the division directors as well as the area directors. In division director branch to your right, you already see the team with the area directors, as well as the assistant division director of program quality and the assistant division director of club growth. Now for the area portion, you do see the area director, the area secretary, the club president, the VP of education, VP of membership, the assistant area director of program quality, and the assistant area director of club growth. Now these two actually make a great connection, but if you take away the connection, you will not have the support for one or the other. You go right in the middle, snap right there, and what happens? The area team will not have support with the division director and the team, and the division director will not have support with the area and the team. So it's always best to realize and connect with your division director as well as your area director as well as everything else. So it's always important to make sure that you have a good, not only good connection, but also the importance on each of the individual roles that you see here and how that can contribute to a successful team. Up next, we're going to talk about your team agreements. And we have the different types of team agreements that are out there. And we're in this section, we'll talk about the team composition, the values, the team operating principles, potential obstacles, meeting protocol, and team interaction and behavioral norms. Come on. Team motivation. Now, before we get into this presentation, what do you think motivates a team, especially within your team of area directors as well as a team of division directors? Please, you can go ahead and use the chat. What will motivate you for 2021 and 2022 Toastmaster year? Let's look at the chat. Recognition, yes. Anybody else? Effective and timely communication, that's good. They need to see a value in their leadership and helping members, fantastic. Finding their passion, provide the resources to accomplish them, train leaders, good. Growth ops, that align with personal goals, that is very important. All these are very important answers. It is always best to have that motivation and the goals that you want to accomplish within their area as well as division levels of leadership. Without those goals and without those motivation, what do you have? You do not have anything. It's like going anywhere that you can go, but if you don't have a destination or a motivation of where you want to go and how you want to go, what else is there? You basically are going to go on a trip or a journey to nowhere if you don't have that motivation. And I love the definition of motivation that's provided by Lawrence Toastmasters Club. It's acknowledgement, praise, resources, networking, and enthusiasm and being available. So with that motivation, you definitely need to have that within your clubs, your members, your areas, your division, and even your own district. So without motivation, you can truly go nowhere. Go right here. Now there are 5 principles of motivation. You have to understand the motivation. You have to focus on the value. You have to clarify your expectations, recognize your team, and leading by example. Now let's go back into the 5 principles of motivation. When it comes to understanding motivation, you've got to know what you have to be motivated by, but not only yourself, but also what are the team motivations as well, and what are the individual motivations. We are all different people. We all have the different drives and what drives us and the different passions that are available. If you got to understand not only your own motivation, but also the other person's motivation. If you have a leader that says, well, I'm motivated by this and I'm motivated by that, I want to do this, I want to do that, me, I, what happens to the other person? The other person will get bored and they will say, oh my goodness, will this person ever stop talking? I just can't believe this person is going to talk about him, or her. It's always about this person right here. What about my motivations? Does this person get a chance to understand me? Then you won't have that good of a connection. The key thing is you got to understand not only your own motivations, but the other people's motivations as well. For example, why, for all the area directors out there, why are you motivated to actually become an area director? Now, the area directors can answer this in the chat. What drives you to become an area director for the upcoming Toastmaster year? Okay, we help others learn, grow, and be involved in my community in a positive way. That's a good answer. Personal, learn new things. Toastmasters, share the value of Toastmasters. That's good. Helping others to achieve their goals. All right, develops future leaders, step up behind me. Okay, good. Grow my leadership, communication, further while serving and paying it forward to more individuals and grow relationships. See, these are great motivations within the area director. Now there's somebody out there, I won't say in this district, but you also hear other people talk about their motivations. So area director is just to get a certain type of award, and that is none other than the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. That is cool for yourself, but the great area directors notice that there is more than serving as an area director just to become a Distinguished Toastmaster. While being a Distinguished Toastmaster is great, there's always more if you look deep, if you go even further than what you have to do. When it comes to area directors, I love these answers. I love helping future leaders. I love the growth leadership communications. I love the further serving it and paying it forward and growing relationships. To share the global opportunities to communicate and spread the world peace even during pandemic and political divisions. I don't know about you, but I like this Lawrence Toastmasters Club. I really love the answers here. There's actually, in our district, we have a few area directors that want to serve the role again as they were Distinguished Toastmasters. And I asked them, why do you want to do this? And they want to do this because they're not focused on just being a Distinguished Toastmaster, but also get a chance to actually help out within the community. And hearing those types of answers really makes me very happy. Now let's focus on the value of motivation. We already mentioned about the answers about focusing on values and motivations. And it is very important not only have the motivation, but also a value of Toastmasters. And yes, the area director is the best role in Toastmasters. You got to have certain types amounts of value within the role of your leadership. And this is very important that you focus on your role as area director or role as division director, and ask yourself, what value do you bring to the district? And if you can answer the values you bring to the district, then you can understand your role more clearly. And you can also get a chance to know what you need to do and where you need to go to help this district become an awesome district for the 2021-2022 Toastmaster year. Clarifying expectations. This is very, very, very important with clarifying expectations. District Director-elect Dan Arbuckle, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, can you, as an incoming district director, explain some of your expectations for your own district for this upcoming Toastmaster year?
Well, I definitely would like to see our clubs visited more than just the once each half. Visit as often as you can. That may not always work out. Communicate as thoroughly as possible with your clubs. I mean, just because we send out a weekly email, or Shed or Jerome and I may send out something, make sure that that gets to your clubs. I mean, not only for contests, but all those other requests. We do want to know what educational offerings that our members want to see. We want to know if they have opinions on the evenings that they would prefer to have such events, but just be as open and honest and friendly and communicate as well as possible. If a club reaches out to you, please respond within 24 hours if at all possible. Same if your fellow Toastmasters, your fellow district leaders reach out, respond as quickly as you can. If you don't have the answer, that happens all the time. I don't have an answer, but you can, or with our help, find the person that does have the answer so we can get those questions responded to as quickly as possible. And have a good year. Let's have fun with this. Let's learn. Let's grow together.
Thank you very much, Dan Arbuckle, for your clarifying the expectations for District 22. And really, really appreciate that. You got to have expectations on what you want to do within your role. And Dan just mentioned about his expectations. Now, I would like for a certain division director or any division director, I see Terry Dickin right there. Hey, Terry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now, what are your expectations on your role as division director?
Well, this past year has been a tough year for all clubs. I mean, we can tell just by the way the reorganization of the district went. So my expectation is my team figuring out, and that being the division team, figuring out how we can go about bringing more people into Toastmasters. Go back and get some of those that have dropped out, and my expectation is that we can increase the membership with Division R.
All right,
So
thank you.
that's what I'm looking to do.
All right, thank you very much, Terry, for that wonderful answer. And let's get in an area format. I do see David Wells. David, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Now, what are your expectations on an area level?
Well, I am actually looking forward to being area director again. I did it before, and I didn't think I was as effective as I will be this time. I do plan on meeting with my clubs as frequently as possible. Hopefully my schedule will work with them. But I'm going to be looking for who wants to move up in leadership and try to groom them for the position they want to be for next year. If they want to move up, I'm going to be looking for my replacement is what I'm going to be doing. And I look forward to helping people. My passion is helping people. It's what I do for my work. That's what I do for my job. And I'm just looking to help the clubs grow again. I believe I'm in Terry's division. I'm not sure, but I think I am. And I'm really excited to work with Terry again. It's been a while since I've seen him, and look forward to this next year. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. There you have it. 3 levels of expectations. You have a district level expectation, you have a division level of expectation, and you have an area level of expectations. While they may seem like they're individual, they can all actually get together and work on a goal for the district success. It doesn't just take one expectations, but if they all gel together, then you have great expectations that could turn out into great success for this district. Let's go right into recognizing your teams. Recognizing your teams is very important. How important is this? Well, let's just say that you happen to be a division director and you want to have all the goals that you possibly can, and you want to do this and do that and make sure that your division is a success. My question to you is this: how far will you go if you don't know who your team members are? If you don't know who your area directors are, if you don't know who your clubs are, how far can a division director go if they don't know who their team is? Feel free to say that answer on the chat. How far can they go? Exactly, not very far, because it's just not very far, not at all. That'd be like trying to drive without a clutch. Well, I am a Gen X and I never drove a clutch before. I can tell you that right now. But those are great answers. If you don't know the people that you work with, and you talk about these great, big, grandiose goals, you'll probably get as far as I am right now getting out of my seat to do this presentation. You won't get too far right now. It is very important to realize that the greatest tragedy is not the leaders not knowing their subjects, but the leaders not knowing who they are working with. They have to actually deal with people in order to make this work. No one person can do this by themselves. And if you, as a division director, if you as an area director, if you as a district director or the top three, understand who you're working with, then it's all for the better. Because I got to tell you, if you know yourself and you know the people that you work with, then you're dealing with a win-win situation. But if you know yourself and you don't know your team, you won't get as far. Chances are you have a 50-50 win-loss ratio. But if you don't know yourself and you don't know your team, then I got some bad news for you. You will not achieve all the goals that you possibly can. So it's always important to recognize your team, your members, get a chance to know who they are. And how go people go by doing this? They can actually go to different council meetings. They can even have those special meetings at different locations. Heck, we have Zoom right here. You can actually schedule a Zoom meeting. If you are a division director, you can schedule a Zoom meeting with your area directors. If you are an area director, you can actually schedule meetings with your fellow club officers, the club president, the VP educations, heck, the whole group of the people in your club. You can actually get the chance to know other people. And if you go fast, I love this Lawrence Toastmasters. Oh my goodness. Thank you. And if the club leaders are not communicating, you may need to communicate down to the club members. So it's always important to actually communicate and get to know who you're dealing with and who you're working with. It's a basic Toastmasters jargon about knowing your audience. If you know your audience, then you are in much better shape than where you actually are. And leading by example. This is also important about the 5 points of motivations. Let's just say that I tell you to do something like, for example, you go ahead and just visit those clubs and you do all this other stuff and you go ahead and just sit there while I do something totally opposite. How would that make me look as a leader? That wouldn't make me look good, would it? No, not a chance at all. Because if you have a leadership principle and if you have the certain levels of leadership and you do by action, but yet you're saying something that's totally different, then you know that you lost your leadership right there. It is always important to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk with other people that you know. You got to remember that as an area director, a division director, or any type of district leader that you're holding, you are being watched for your actions. And when you're being watched for your actions, that can make or break your leadership within your 5 principles of motivation. So it is always important to actually do what you possibly can and also lead by examples with whatever you have to do. Now, by leading by example, what's the best way to lead by examples? It's to adhere to the core values of Toastmasters. Can anyone tell me what the core values are? You can also tell me by chat. What are the Toastmasters core values? Integrity, respect, good. Service, yes. Rice, what's the C? I never heard of C before. Service and excellence, but maybe you are definitely right. RISE, RISE, respect, integrity, service, and excellence. If you're going to lead people and groups by examples, remember to keep these core values in mind. Don't worry, we all have fat fingers. We all have fat fingers, but it's always good to actually lead by examples by having the core values at your base on respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to rise above your leadership. And you get that certain type of respect, because I can tell you right now, the positions that you have as district director, as division director, as area director, as program quality director, as club growth director, they are more than just the positions of who you are. It's also what you do with them. And if you do your best with them, then you know that you're going to have a fantastic role. And I like to add a bonus principle of motivation for you. And this bonus principle, it is somehow undercovers and under wraps. But today I will expose it for you. And this bonus principle of motivation is called responsibility. Responsibility for leadership. And it is always important to take responsibility for what you do and how you're going to do this. You have to be accountable with where you need to go and how, if things go wrong or if things go right, always be accountable for what you have to do. For me, when it comes to giving this type of presentation, I am accountable for what I do. I'm not going to go ahead and point fingers over here, over here, over here, over here, because if you point fingers, guess what? 3 of them are pointing right back at you. So it is always important to actually have that responsibility and accountability if things go well or if things don't go as well. So those are some bonus principles of motivation. Let's go right into the next slide here. Conflict resolution. Oh yes, there is the conflict resolutions that people have to deal with, whether it is by district level, area level, or division level. And I got to tell you that conflict resolution is not fun. Do you think that we're all going to go together, walk together, and just be all happy through from day 1 to day 365 on June 30th of 2022? Chances are we probably won't, because there are those types of people that are going to also create trouble. And I don't know the people over here in District 22. I just can't look at someone and say, who's going to be the troublemaker this year for area directors and division directors? Oh, there you are, Terry. Rob, I know who you are. You're always going to make a whole lot of trouble for this district. So that's the gimme right there. And
Learned
probably
from Rob.
Huh?
I learned from Rob.
There you go, Terry. You learn from Rob as well. I rest my case. But there's always got to be that one person or that one situation that's going to be of conflict resolution. And conflict resolution doesn't have to be the M-nots and R2s, the and uh-huhs. It may be something as small as a disagreement about how certain activities will go within a TLI or a contest, or it may be bigger than you expect. I've been a region advisor before, as well as my friend Rob and Linda, and I'm sure that they have different stories about different conflicts that can happen within each district. And when you have to deal with conflict, it can make you lose your hair. And for my output, I've lost many a hairs in my days as region advisor dealing with conflict. Now, what is the best way to deal with conflict? Well, I could share with you right now. One, you definitely want to talk in private about your conflict. I was at one visit as a region advisor at a public area, and I was going over the different visits with this trio. And then out of nowhere, I see the 2 out of the 3 district leaders were arguing with each other in public. In public. In public. They were yelling back and forth at each other, and me being the visiting region advisor, I started to take on a blush of red. And yes, I do blush. It was pretty embarrassing, and I had to write something to World Headquarters about it. So when it comes to dealing with this type of conflict, please, 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 please talk in private. Next up, you got to share your responsibilities as well as agree to resolve your issues. When it comes to that accountability, I've mentioned about having accountability, having responsibility prior to this, showing you the slide. So you always got to ask yourself, what am I responsible for? Is there any way that I could do this better? Is there any way I could actually stand up and actually get over this type of conflict and find some type of resolution? If you can find a way, then you are a step closer to actually resolving the different conflicts that are out there. Present viewpoints in an unemotional way. Present viewpoints in an unemotional way. When you present viewpoints in an unemotional way, you got to be calm, you got to be cool, and you got to be collected in how you present yourself. What if you and I were to go into a conflict and I said, oh yeah, well you did this and you did that, and I can't believe you said that. Huh? Oh yeah, well bleep this and bleep that. How would that look? If you are emotional in your conflicts, then the only person that's going to make look bad is yourself. That is not professional. That is not the best way to handle the viewpoints. And also, believe it or not, you may get that, when you get that anger, you may get that rise of power or rise of this, but it can also show a sign of weakness as well. Yes, I said that. It can also show a sign of weakness if you act that way. The best way to do that is to actually have the calmer hand, to play the calmer role, and just talk back and forth with each other. And you can present your viewpoints in a very unemotional way. If you're able to be very calm, very cool, and very collected, back and forth, then you know that you are able and capable on having a certain type of agreement within the conflict. Determine the points of agreement and disagreement. It's always best to actually determine what you folks agree on and what you folks disagree on. If you have more disagreements than agreements, that gives you more to work with. But if you have more agreements than disagreements, then you're already on the right track. If you have more agreements, or actually if you have more disagreements, you have to decide how to proceed on those disagreements. Where do we go from here? What are you going to do right over here? How are we going to actually come to some type of resolution? That answer is described best by the person that has the disagreement with the other person. It makes big sense to actually have that happen. And I love these comments here. 24-hour solace can help you take out the heat and then resume the conversation when the heat is gone. Great work, KR. I want to know who this KR person is. This is fantastic. It's easy to complain if you bring nothing to the table. Bam, Shed, you hit the nail right on the head. And problems arise when you know someone well. It becomes personal and harder to be professional. Thank you very much. And the last one is summarize the discussion in writing and move forward. They say that the pen is mightier than the sword. And it is always important that you have a pen with you so you can write down your agreements, or even in this age, if you have a computer, you can just type out the agreements, share with the other person on what you discussed, and then move forward. So the important thing about conflict and how to deal with conflict, if you want to see the end of conflict, it's always best to actually move forward, because when you move forward, you know that the conflict may have been resolved and you can actually become better leaders in the same process. Review. When it comes to reviewing, you have to, we already recounted our roles as area and division directors. We had identified the members of area directors and councils and way to offer council support. Now, the one thing that we don't have to discuss is a team charter. And when it comes to having a team charter, that is very important. If you have a team charter, that basically focuses your goals on what you need to do for the 2021-2022 Toastmasters year. And with the team charter, the best way to do that is to get together with your teams. Area directors get together with your club officers in your meeting and discuss what goals that you want to accomplish and what to do and who's responsible for which actions. For the division directors, get together with your area director team and find out what you need to do to actually get together with your teams. That is the importance. And of course, the district director, Mr. Dan Arbuckle, get together with your division directors as well as your team officers to find out what you need to do to actually get to your goals. Because if you have a team charter and the benefits, it's like having a map to get from point A to point B. If you have the map, then you know what you need to do and where you need to go. And if you're somewhat lost in your map, you can always go back to your map and realize what the agreements that you made in the beginning of the year. It is very important that you do that. Build trust and set expectations using the team charters. As we mentioned before, in the different levels, you do have the different division as well as district and areas levels of expectations. They might be different. They might be somewhat similar to what the district director, a division director, and area director has mentioned. So it is always important to actually have that going. We applied the 5 principles of motivation. We applied the 5 principles of motivations plus the bonus one of accountability and responsibility. And we use conflict resolutions of techniques. So all of these are very important when it comes to building a successful team. And if you have a successful team, you can go places. If you have a successful team, you can actually look back at your legacy and say, you know what? I was grateful to be a part of this team of District 22 Toastmasters. And you always have those great memories. And you can also pass a torch for future leaders to come. Without a great team, you can't accomplish as much as you possibly can. And it can get quite difficult and quite hard. And you just can't do that. You just got to have yourself a good team and good effort and do the best that you possibly can. We have a few minutes left, and I am willing to take on different types of questions that are available. And does anyone have any questions before we go on our 10-minute break? You can not only use the chat, but you also use your microphones too.
I would just like to, Jesse, first of all, thank you for your presentation. And for all the leaders out there, I know we talk about building our teams currently, but look for those future leaders also. I love, the one thing I love about Toastmasters is there's no secret squirrel handshakes or none of that stuff like that. So if you know someone that may be interested in leadership for next year, invite them to the training. I remember when I first joined Toastmaster, my mentor drugged me off to an officer training. I wasn't even an officer yet. And he drugged me. I said, hey, what are you doing Saturday? I was like, you know, nothing. Come on to this training with me. And I just went as a normal member and I learned some valuable lessons. And I said, okay, I know what officer role I want to take on next year. And that just helps educate our members. So don't wait until they're in the role, lead them up into the role, invite them out. I mean, nobody's going to kick them out if they're not an area director or division director.
Exactly. Thank you, Shed. Do we have any other questions? Does anyone, let's see, let's go.
See a couple in the chat. Yeah.
Let's see a couple in the chat right here. What do you think is the biggest obstacle for members? What is one advice would you give? And how can clubs increase diversity in our membership? Oh boy, those are some great questions. The biggest obstacle for members, I could tell you right now, is right here. The thoughts process that's in their heads. Because there are certain times where I have those thought processes in my head where I think that something is not going to go as well as it possibly could, but I never know unless I take action and step forward. And if I take action, then I know what I need to do. And I realize that what's in my head and my thoughts is not as bad as it actually thought out to be. And that's one advice I definitely would like to give. And how can club increase diversity in our membership? What clubs can create diversity in the membership is you actually got to reach out to different people that are out there that are interested in Toastmasters. If they are interested in Toastmasters, then they're able to actually check out a club and see what's available. But you also got to sell it in a way that Toastmasters is a wonderful organization to improve your communication and leadership skills. It is fantastic, but you got to definitely just got to reach out there and see what is there. Does anyone know if District 22 did a team charter this past year so we could build on it, so we can schedule it for this year? I'd like to lead up for the top trio to answer that question.
Yes, I would say District 22 always does a success plan each year, and which includes the team charter. One thing we would really like to see each year, but we don't always get it, is a collection of the area and division success plans to build up to our district plan, because ultimately we should be building off of what the members, the area and division, what their goals are in helping make our district have the best goals and support the members best we can. As far as being able to provide that, we could, but I think really it's a matter of going to getting the template from TI and really just kind of working through each area and the divisions together to figure out what you want to do and how you best want to define your communication going forward.
Thank you very much, Madam District Director, for the next 20, let's see how many days you have, the next 18 days. Thank you. But there's one comment that I do see that really stood out for me. It says, help, all I see is white people in my club. Yikes. Whew. All I can tell you right now is when it comes to growth, when it comes to communication, and when it comes to leadership, and when it comes to all of us having the same passion and what we do as Toastmasters, that passion has no color. Because if you look at it this way, we're all brothers and we're all sisters within Toastmasters. We all have the same benefits. We all have the same passion. And we all have the same drive that keeps us going, especially here as leaders of District 22 Toastmasters. We are all in it together as brothers and sisters. And yes, we do have white people, we do have black people, we do have brown people, we have every type of people. But you also got to remember that we are people on a shared mission. We are people with shared goals. And if you go outside the box of the United States, you can also see that in Europe. You can see that in Africa. You can see that in Australia. You can actually see that in every part of the globe that you go, even Antarctica, where penguins are both black and white. So I got to let all of you know that when you have to deal with Toastmasters and everything else and the goals that are out there, remember, yes, we may have different skin colors, but if you look deep down inside of all of us, we have a shared passion, we have a shared drive, and we have a shared goal, and we all bleed, not only bleed blood, but bleed what Toastmasters is all about. And that is one reason why I've been in Toastmasters for 19 years. It's not because of the white people or the black people or the brown people or any other type of people. It's because of the cool people. And you know what? District 22, y'all have a bunch of cool people in this district. And I just hope that this presentation I gave to you makes some type of sense for all of you. And I really wish you all well within your journeys at District 2022. And I got to say that as we go together as Toastmasters, let's all go together as brothers and sisters. And if you know anyone out there that has shared the same passion of brotherhood and getting together in communication, then I'll tell you what, you may want to invite them to a Toastmaster meeting so they can see the brothers and sisterhood that Toastmasters brings. And it is always beyond skin deep. And this concludes my presentation for building successful teams. And I'd like to go ahead and call Rob. Is it okay to call for a 10-minute break?
Yep.
Actually, yeah, that is our plan. We'll do a 10-minute break. Jesse, thank you very much. And as Jesse said, we are all in this together. It is not what we look like. It's the fact that we're Toastmasters. We're all passionate about being Toastmasters. And we're, like Lark told us, the top of the organization is the Toastmaster. That's all of us working together for one another. Get a chance to go out and visit those international clubs. You'll see that no matter where people are, no matter what they look like, no matter what they believe, think, feel, they're all Toastmasters. We're all in this together. The only thing that may come up when we meet in person, if you put donuts on a tall shelf, I'm short, somebody may have to get those for me. Maybe the only odd distinction. Let's take a 10-minute break. I'll put the clock up and we'll be back in just a bit.
Linda, you want to do a quick slide check? You're muted.
Mute is my best position. My kids prefer it. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Now, how do I do a slide share?
well. Yeah,
Let me
go ahead.
stop and now you can.
There we go. Then I have to do, I'm still learning how to do this.
There you go.
It's all about learning process. And
Oh my gosh, I
There we
know.
go.
How does it look? Whoops, I just blew it.
It looks zoomed in.
Yeah,
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, thank goodness.
all right, I'm going to another TLI, and I got to say it's a pleasure and an honor actually to get a chance to do this with you happy people. Until next time.
Seeing you, Jesse.
Thank you very much.
As always,
Please,
Jesse, it's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Hey, I'm gonna say,
And please-
Jesse, safe travels from Zoom to Zoom.
yep. And drop in anytime you want. Please feel
Hey.
free to drop in and see us.
Send me the invitation. I'll be there.
We
Like,
will.
like young Michael said, I'll be there. Take care.
All right.
Have fun,
go.
Jesse.
Okay, Linda, if you'll drop, I'll put the clock back up. Please.
If I'll do what?
If you'll stop sharing, I will put the clock back up so we can see that.
Okay, I'll see if I can do that. But then do I have to reorganize my slides again?
No, you'll just need to share again. Just need to do just what you did the first time. And leave them at that Zoom level. You should be okay.
Okay.
And if there's
Can
any
you tell this,
questions out there,
there's
for
a
our
first time
leaders-
for everything and this is it.
As always, this is a safe place to play.
Mhm, absolutely. Is Jerome still planning to be my chat buddy?
I sure am.
Oh, yay. I'm not going to put the questions up again, like I suggested yesterday. I'm just going to read them off. And what I thought, if it's okay, I would send the questions and a couple of follow-up comments from what happens today
Sure.
out.
And if you like, are you going to do the same format that it's been done earlier? Just have the folks answer and then I'll share those answers?
I think so. There's one place where we're supposed to break out. And I honestly think rather than breaking out, we're just going to share answers.
Okay.
I think that way everybody's included in everything and it's just easier for Zoom. Breakouts are nice and I think they're a nice way to break up the what's going on. But let's just keep it simple.
Okay.
I might do something silly in the middle, like get everybody to stand up and do 3 jumping jacks or something. It's a long morning.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah. And they started talking about donuts. I'm like, where's my donut?
Right.
We all started doing that.
Yeah.
In the mail.
In the mail. Mm. Dehydrated? So it flattens out?
Oh, space donut. There you go.
Probably.
Yeah.
Wonder if those exist.
Lark was amazing, do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I would like to see a recording of that for every district. That's the most impressive district officer training presentation I've ever seen, I think.
It's a great way to get us all focused on what we needed to do.
Yeah.
Officer resources.
I would like to see a recording of that for every district. That's the most impressive. So do your people have the membership participant workbook? Has that been given to them?
Link to the training materials was sent out, but not sure. We didn't really set the expectation for people to have those with them unless you'd asked. So I can put that in the chat.
Yeah, but then it's kind of hard to really fill out the workbook and watch the presentation if you don't have it printed in front of you. At least that's my old school experience. So I'm going to refer to it in my presentation to let them know that actually they can go see all the slides anytime they want to, and they can see the workbook. And I'm going to suggest that maybe they go back and look at it again.
Can we drop the link to it in the chat?
Yeah, I think that's great. But I know when I get a link and you go show me a workbook, I don't want to go back and forth and fill out the workbook during the session personally.
That is true.
It's in the chat now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There. You're so good.
Yes, he is.
David's happy to have it. Following these slides again, Rob, reminds me of being a region advisor and doing the presentations.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot different this year. Prior years being in the big room, going from room to room, we had the different breakouts in different places and having to go around the whole convention center doing these sessions. And now, it was the whole 2-day event there, but now for the district leader training, they're doing like 4 different weekends. They're really breaking it up. Kind of like we broke this up. They're breaking theirs up significantly over the course of August, essentially. So
yeah, no comment.
It'll be different. I know they did it last year already, so it'd be, at least they're doing it for a second year this year. They've already got some good practice with it. But there was a lot of good feedback from last year, from what I heard from that format.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting, because I heard a couple of people say, gee, instead of taking up 2 days of my life, they're taking up 4 weekends.
Well, there was that unfortunate part of it, but yeah.
Right.
Heck, 4 hours. I've done a lot of these, so 4 hours of these, on a 2-day weekend is better than a 7-hour session where you basically give up one day. In my opinion, I prefer to see more sessions, and it kind of helps you reinforce it too, because you don't just go to one session, you're trained, and that's it. Now you got here in 2 weeks, we'll have another session to revisit and learn more.
Exactly.
That was one of the goals, because this session can feel like a fire hose session if we do all of them together. And when we ran these in person, even like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. kind of things. And people walk out kind of like, I remember
exactly.
there's some guy named Shed. I don't know much else, and so hopefully this format, today we focused on the club support pieces with Jesse and Linda. And then in 2 weeks, we talk about the other components, with club growth and contests and recognition. So
I like it.
Oh, but we're going to get some recognition here in a few minutes.
Oh, certainly. There's some pieces are everywhere, of course, but the focus session on the program is in 2 weeks. You know, the whole
I got you. I
the
know.
1 hour version of the district recognition program. So
But I brought some of my toys with me, so.
nice. I can't throw candy out during this.
I know. I got my kisses.
Nice.
When I was in Dan's role, you know, this 10 years ago this month, you know, when we did these live, I put like nerds and, you know, other little candy things on all the desks for all the
Oh,
divisions.
just you wait.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
When we're in person, I will bring donuts.
There you go. Exactly.
When I taught
All right,
Sunday.
we're gonna
when I
hold you
taught
to that.
What I like to do when I ask questions and somebody gets the right answer, then I throw candy at them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I went to that training class too. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a terrible shot, but that's okay.
And I'll bring donuts for all of you instead of just for me.
So maybe go ahead
Yay.
and bring up your screen share again, Linda. We'll get
Yes, sir. I'm going to work on it.
And Jerome, it's all yours.
Jerome.
Uh-oh, where'd it go?
Uh-oh.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a good, quick bio break, got some snacks, stood up and stretched a little bit. So I have the wonderful honor of introducing our next speaker. Linda Ria is crazy about Toastmasters. Linda believes serving as area director is the most fun and rewarding role in Toastmasters. She has served in many roles, most club officer roles, area director twice, district coach chair, all 3 trio roles, regional 10 advisor to 7 districts. Linda is happy to share how area and division directors can enjoy helping officers and members enhance club quality. Please help me welcome Linda Ria.
Did he just call me crazy? What's crazy is being an area director. Oh my gosh, there's club visits, more than 2 now. There's filling out reports. There's area council meetings, division council meetings, district training. Oh my, do we really have to do all of that? Yes, we do get to do all of that. That's where leaders are made, and that's where the fun happens. I am so excited for all of you and so proud that you have stood up to be an area or division director. I have to say, area director is the most fun I've ever had in Toastmasters. So much fun that I'm an area director right now with 18 days left. So can you see yourself doing this again? I like to say that you, the area and the division directors, are the #1 point of contact for every member to the bigger organization. That's an exciting role to have. We build the relationship. We answer the questions. We are the bridge to what else is out there and the answers to the questions. Questions, that's my #1 joy in being a Toastmaster. Think about a sandwich evaluation. We're going to talk about that quite a bit in the future during this session. A sandwich evaluation, we give people what we thought was great, an idea or 2 to maybe make it even better, and then a lot of recognition at the end. And I think that's a great way to look at our job as an area director and a division director. The people that we're helping, division directors helping area directors and area directors helping members and officers, we're constantly giving them good feedback, a sandwich evaluation. So you'll hear that throughout. One tip I want to give you at the very beginning: you don't start your job for 18 days, but right now, current information about your clubs is online. Some of it won't be there starting July 1st. I'm going to suggest, once you learn how, that you go from your division director or your district director, get your member list and your club officer list when possible of your clubs, get their current DCP report, get the unpaid clubs list so you can see if there's any of the unpaid clubs at the end of the year in your area and your division, and look at the education reports for this year, because it's going to tell you what everyone in your area has been working on and completed, which will be great information when you get to your area reports. So now I'm going to dig into the training now that I've given you some of my beginning tips. In this session, we get to know what a quality club is. We get to prepare to know our club. I call this the relationship building portion. We talk about club visits, which are the relationship enhancing part of our job. And then there's a list of resources at the end. And just so you know, Rob put in the chat all of the link to get to this training. So if you want these slides, along with the facilitator notes and the participant workbook, all you have to do is, okay, this is my cheat. When I'm looking for something on the Toastmaster website, I Google it. So if I put in Enhanced Quality Clubs, which is the name of or Enhanced Club Quality, that's the title of this session, it pops right up. You don't have to log into Toastmasters and go through all that. But don't tell them I told you that, okay? So that's our agenda. Next up, what are our objectives? Well, I know you can read it, but they like us to read it out loud. Would anybody like to volunteer to read what's on the slide so you get to hear a different voice? If so, just start in. Otherwise, you get me.
Define club quality and a positive member experience. Examine what contributes to club quality and a positive member experience. Prepare for club visits. Practice building trust during club visits. Conduct effective club visits. And propose solutions for club challenges.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I know it gets boring to hear the same voice all the time. So now we're going to get into club quality. Nothing to read on this slide because you get to give the answers. So now it's time to open your chat and give some ideas that you think lead to club quality. What is a quality club? And Jerome is going to help by reading some of them out when you start typing into chat.
We have so far following the DCP. Quality clubs are fun. Let's see, giving only pathway speeches. Teamwork makes the dream work. Focused on members' goals. Let's see, we'll get a couple more here. Good participation, giving speeches and helping others. Good evaluations. And we'll go with creative and engaging meetings. One more came in. Club quality, support for diversity, following Toastmasters mission statement, teamwork, highlighting the club unique quality.
Beautiful. All of those were great, great answers. And when we're, as Lark told us earlier, when we meet members' expectations and we have a fun program with quality programming and people following the education program, we have a quality club. So that's exactly what we're looking for. Well done. So now we're going to jump into the member experience. Why do you remember why you joined Toastmasters? Do you want to put some of that into the chat? Why did you join? And if Jerome wants to read some of those out, if they're popping in. What I didn't realize is I can't see chat when I'm screen sharing.
Oh, no worries. I'm happy to help here. Right. To grow as a person every year, we have some professional development, to prepare for my encore career, meet new people. Oh, they're coming in hot. To gain more confidence, to be a better storyteller, to kick the nervous habits of public speaking, then build leadership skills. Oh, let's see, to overcome the fear of public speaking in communication and the community. Let's see, networking, helping people. Let's see, to continue to learn and grow, and even in retirement, helping others and expand my world.
Wow. So when I hear all of that, I think Toastmasters must be the greatest organization on the planet. And when things get tough, which they just might, Jesse gave us a couple of examples of when they might, I want you to save this chat. You can save it now, but save it at the end. Go back and read some of these wonderful reasons that people came to Toastmasters, and help your clubs understand that that's what we're here for. Help them rekindle the joy. And the next question is, why do you stay? If you want to type that in chat, that would be great too.
Looks like some folks are staying because of growth. You always being a life learner. The people, for sure, it's a good reason. The relationships, the opportunity for consistent growth, people, the wonderful people. There's immense value. Some are staying just for Rob. The networking, mentoring others towards being better leaders. Always learning and now helping others grow. Continued opportunity.
Great answers again.
Meeting new people and support for everyone who wants to learn and grow, and then connect with others, hear their story, and become the person my dog knows I am.
Well, I can tell people like to have fun in your district, but I've already known that because I'm friends with quite a few people at district international meetings. I remember the first time I met Rob, and he inspired me to go on to leadership at the Cincinnati convention. So these are great reasons that we stay. Research has shown, when Toastmasters has gone out and done research, that people may join for any number of reasons, like the ones that you listed. But what really gets them to stay is the fun and the relationships. So we need to remember that keeping it fun, interesting, varying the meetings, and building relationships, number one, to keep our members staying with us. So next up, we want to talk a little bit about membership, education, and leadership. And I'm going to that next slide. Yep, I guess I need to go backwards. My Zoom skills are growing exponentially today, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to present this Toastmaster program for the first time live. I've practiced it many times. But right now we would break into groups normally, but instead we're going to do this in chat because it's just a little bit easier. And so we're going to talk first about membership. What do you think are the ways that clubs can attract and retain members? And we'll type that in chat again.
So some of the answers that are coming in already is for friends to invite friends, fun meetings, educated leaders, word of mouth advertising, make club meetings fun, open houses, promote Toastmaster skills as life skills as they are. You tell your story and then you ask them to come. You understand personal goals and provide resources to accomplish them. Consistent PR, media, invite friends, attend other groups, and let them know about Toastmasters. Share your why.
We were listening to Lark earlier talking about her why. That's great. I have a couple to add. I mean, membership building campaigns. I bet all of your clubs have a Facebook or a LinkedIn page, and they post on those quite a bit. I'm going to suggest that you step outside of the club, get your members to post on their page, let the other members in their club know that they posted something about Toastmasters, and get all of you to share it. Now, why would I want you to go to that much trouble? Our Facebook page for our club may have 100, it may have 20, it may have 200. Or if you're like George Marshall's club, you've got about 600 or 700 people on your Facebook page. But not everybody gets to see those posts. If you want the public to see it, you all need to be posting on your own page. And then when we all like and share and comment, the algorithm moves us up. So when people are looking for Toastmasters in your general vicinity, you're going to pop up first because you've got all of that commenting and sharing going on other pages besides just your club's Facebook page. So give that a go. I tested that here in Denver, and we have a club with many millennials and even the younger generation now. It's hard to believe that the millennials have grown up into the next generation. And this club has grown year after year after year, including this year. And they have the #1 ranking in Denver area for a Toastmaster club. If you type in Toastmasters Denver, you're going to find Timberline Toastmasters. So that's a tip to give to your clubs that they may not have heard. Telling your story, I think that's so awesome. You could tell your story. Remember when we did your why on the Toastmaster website and they published them in YouTube? That built Toastmasters SEO. You can do that too in your club. You can put a YouTube channel for your club and make those why stories public so people can see all the great things that have happened to you. If you got a promotion because of Toastmasters, do a 1-minute video about it and post it on your Facebook page. Oh my gosh, will that help bring people to visit your club? So the next thing we need to talk about, the Toastmaster Education Program. How can the club help its members meet their personal and professional education goals with our education program? Anybody want to type some ideas in chat on that?
Let's see. So we're looking for answers for how the club can help its members meet their personal and professional education goals. This may require folks to type a little bit longer of an answer, so I'll give a few more minutes before to let them come in.
Good idea.
Ooh, I like this one. Mentoring. Encourage members to create a personal plan and share it with the club. A good way to ask what those goals are. Understand what those goals are fully. You ask them individually about their goals and help them translate that goal into a pathways plan. Encourage them to meet their goals. Apply in the workplace or college. Evaluation. Have them fill out member interest surveys and follow up. Assign new members mentors. Survey existing members for their goals. Encourage them to take on roles that fit their goals.
So all of these are great. Many of the things that you've said are exactly what I would recommend. Besides mentors for new members, have you ever thought of a buddy or a mentor buddy within the club, and every member has a mentor? Maybe experienced members are working with experienced members and they're holding each other accountable to their goals. They say that when you tell someone else what your goals are, you're more likely to achieve them. And the mentor, I think mentors are so incredibly important. Another thought that I've had, and I'm really excited to try in my club, while preparing this, I came up with this idea. Hold Toastmasters table topics in your meeting one time. And the question can be general or specific, but it's around what path are you working on? What is your current goal in Toastmasters? What's your ultimate goal in Toastmasters? Have you thought about becoming a DTM and how are you going to get there? So they start talking about what their goals are in front of everybody. That gives them more ownership of their goals as well. But remember always, positive reinforcement, even if their goal is not as grandiose as you might prefer, celebrate them for taking a step, even if they're just now finally deciding to get into their first path. Next is club leadership. Let's give some ideas on how do club officers affect club quality and the member experience. This is key, so type in chat for us.
It is a requirement for each member to have a mentor. And it would be wishful thinking to have the option of assigning in Toastmasters International, the website, the mentor to the individual path. Role model, work your own path and share your own goals. Lead by example. Listen. Motivated leaders motivates its members. Be enthusiastic about the role. With enthusiasm comes great energy, which translates to the club meeting.
Absolutely. The more we model the behavior we're looking for with our club members, the more we will see. And so we all, as officers and as area directors, should be working actively in pathways and giving everybody ideas on how to make the meeting even more energetic, how to get people to sign up for roles. If you have a club in your area where people don't like to sign up for any role but speaker, no, I'm sure no clubs in District 22 have that going on though. And another thing is when you visit a club or when you make a presentation as division director for 4 or 5 minutes in your division meetings, have you made them a pathway speech? Always be speaking out of pathways when you speak in your clubs. And division directors, you want to present things every once in a while on how to do things, make that a pathway speech. Because when we model, always in the old days, as we said, friends don't let friends give non-pathway speeches. And when we model that, we get to see more of that. And make sure meetings are interesting and productive. I think what I've noticed at division meetings now that I'm an area director again is we talk about what did we do? What are we going to do? How about new ideas? Give each one of your area directors an idea of something to speak about at one of those meetings. How to help your clubs have more fun at their meetings. Fun club meeting ideas. I have a list of those that I hand out when I train. You know, things like the backwards meeting, come in costume, theme meetings. But always be talking about how you can get your clubs to achieve club excellence while you're talking in your division meetings, rather than just, I checked off this box for a goal, I checked off this box for a goal. I went to a meeting and they did this that was so exciting. I'd never been to a backwards meeting before, and now I want to do it in my club. So those are some ideas that you can use. When clubs meet member needs, I think Lark said this morning, they become distinguished. When they meet all members' needs, they can't help but become President's Distinguished. Bringing in new members, making sure they're in the program, celebrating when they get a raise or a promotion because of what they learned in Toastmasters. That also is a great post for your Facebook page. Clubs that attend to the membership campaigns, follow up with guests. I actually ask all the members in my club to send a note to our guest, thanking them for coming and asking them how they can help them make the decision to join Toastmasters. It really amazes our guests when they get all those emails. So remember that when we lead and teach about membership and staying on the education program, it helps our club. Now for the fun part, getting to know our clubs. I already gave you a bit of information about how to gather information. Your division director and division directors, you already probably know that you can do this. You can get the member list for every club and the officer list for every club and give it to your area directors. Then when you go to the meeting, you can check off who all is there and you can start to ask questions about the ones that you don't see at the meetings. Have they been coming? Is there something we need to know? Have they been called? Are you reaching out to them to bring them back into the fold? And again, you can get the education awards and what people are working on. One thing I always do when I visit a club in person is I pass around a list that has 3 columns at the top: name, path, date of completion. That helps me know that everybody's working in a path, and it answers all those questions at the end of the area director report. What member is working on what path and when will they complete it? And you go, oh, I don't know. Well, now when you've got that list, you do know. And if you make a copy of that list and you give it to the vice president of education, I was always amazed at how many vice presidents of education could not tell me what path every one of their members was working on. This helped them know, and then they can help them schedule the next speech. We did it in chat this year instead of passing a piece of paper around in the room. But this year, I hope most of you will be able to get in the room, and those that are online can do it in chat. So make sure you have all the information so that you know what everybody's working on. That helps you know that the club has enough people working in paths to get them all those education goals for their distinguished club. The next thing in gathering information, I suggest, if it's possible, that you go visit your club right now with the current area director. Let them introduce you. You two could install their officers. You could make sure that the list has been filed with World Headquarters, and if not, you can get on somebody's computer, take your computer, and file the list while you're there. So it gets done before June 30th. That's that one low-hanging piece of fruit that Lark was talking about. And plus, it just builds camaraderie when the current area director takes you and introduces you. And it's like a celebration if you can participate in the installation of officers. Great way to start building trust on your first visit, because it's not about filling out the report. I have a question. Answer yes in chat if you've ever seen this happen. The area director is sitting at the meeting with their computer open with the area director report, typing their answers to the area director report. Anybody ever seen that happen? I'm curious. If you did it make you think the area director was more interested in their computer than you? And my second question is, how many of you on May 31st received an area director report from your area director and asked you to fill it out so they could file it on May 31st? Trust me, that happened to me once when I was a president. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon of the deadline, the area director sent me the report and asked me to complete it. I refrained from saying what I was thinking and did help him, get it taken care of. But please, 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 please don't let Dan Arbuckle be the district director that has area directors doing that. Make sure that you ask questions. And we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to the next slide first. Foster club quality by visiting clubs. Yes, the current list on the slide says that you need to visit once each 6 months. World Headquarters has asked us to visit 4 times, 2 times each 6 months. When I was area director, it was suggested that we visit twice without even thinking about the area director report. Well, I'm going to change that directive just a tiny bit. I would love it if you would download your area director report today, start looking at all the questions you need to ask, look at the moments of truth and the 5 areas in the moments of truth, which first impressions, how they do the club project, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But if you know what all the 6 points of the moments of truth are, and then you ask these 2 questions of your club. You can do it in a club meeting and again in the club officer meeting. The first question is, what do you love about your club? Tell me all the things you love. Have them put it in chat and save it. Or have them write it down or have them say it out loud. Because there's so many things that our members love about our clubs. And when they're all giving them verbally in front of everybody else, we'll go, oh yeah, I like that too. It builds positivity. And it sounds like the beginning of an area director sandwich evaluation, doesn't it? What was great about the speech? Next, ask them, if you could tweak one thing about your club to make it even better, what would it be? Well, I wish we had more members, or why don't we have enough guests? And the third question, how would you help the club with that tweak? What would you commit to doing to help your club get that done? So it's not just sit back and complain about what you don't like, it's get involved and help the club get it done. Then when you, the area director, leave the meeting, you can go to your area director report, take that chat or all the notes you made about all the things they love about their club. And I just bet, you'll have answers to almost all the rest of your questions on your area director report. And the fourth question, how can I or the district help you with those tweaks? Because that is a question in all 6 sections of the area director report. How can the district and I help you? And if you don't ask them, you don't have answers. Why do I want you to ask the questions? I want you to get answers in their words. Because oftentimes we go visit the club, a week or 2 months later, we start to do the area director report, and we don't have any answers to all those questions. And so we write answers. But if you've gotten them written in chat and you've written them during your visit because you asked what they love, you can put in their words the answers to the area director report. Because the minute you push send on that area director report, it's in the email of the club president. So you want to make sure that you got their words rather than, like I hate to say some area directors have done, just made up the answer to the report. That's how you build trust, asking questions. If you go to sales training, what do they teach a salesman to do? Well, yes, they teach them to sell. But number one, they ask you to ask questions. So you walk into a store and the salesman comes over. What are you looking for today? Well, what model? What color? If I could get it for you, all those are sales questions, but those are trust building questions. So get good at the Socratic method. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? The Socratic method is asking questions. Yes?
What was question number 2?
Question number one
was,
is
what do you love about your club? What was question number 2?
Number 2 is if you could tweak one thing in your club to make it even better, what would it be? Now you're finding out what they think they can do better, because that's a question on your area director report. It's something like, in what area can the club improve? So now they're telling you. And then it'll ask you, what can the club do to meet this goal? If you ask them what they want to commit to do to meet that goal, you now know what they can do to meet that goal. So now you're giving exactly their words on your area visit report.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I've had people say, you just made the club visit report easy, when so many times we hear, I hate the club visit report. Get the information ahead of time, get it in their words, and it becomes a piece of cake. Next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about trust. Trust is so important. If you're in sales, and I think you're probably learning that I just might be, people do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. So by going in without the area director report, going in and asking them questions about what they love, you have changed the whole chemistry of the relationship between the area director and the members. This person really cares about who we are. And at the end of the meeting, when you give your report, you don't say, I wish you'd go to contests. Say, I'm looking forward to contests, and I'm so glad this club has been such a great participant. Or if they're not participants historically, get with their president and find out how you can get them to be into contests, and say, I'm so looking forward to you getting to have the fun of participating in contests. Always make it a positive experience. Any of you that are parents, that might sound like some of the things you do with your kids. I don't want to say that members are kids, but getting members to do new things is somehow like trying to get your kids to try and eat their vegetables. Give them honest information. Be receptive to their feedback, and then they may be receptive to your feedback, so that they'll see you as a resource. Let them know you're there to answer their questions. Give them your phone number, your email. Let them know they can contact you anytime. I have found that members call me and say, I don't get pathways and I'm not learning what I need to from my vice president of education. Can you help me? And I go, oh, I'm so glad you asked. Let me help. Okay, I have some more ideas for building trust. I'm known as the star and heart lady. I take sticky notes with me every time I visit. And I'll write down when someone did a great speech, I'll start writing, great speech, Sam. So glad that you're on level 3 of motivational strategies. And I just kind of hand it down to that person. They got a gold star. They think it's pretty cool. Or to the club president. I love how you recognized all your members today. I thought it was fabulous. When I was district governor, we had a wall at every meeting where there were sticky note pads and people could write stars and hearts for all the members in the district. It was quite trust building. One other thing you can do, you can take a reward. Let's say that it's the end of a period and they're trying to get to 3 more goals for the DCP and they make it because they set that goal and they worked at. You go in and you give an award to the person or all the people that help. You really helped out in a crunch. They think it's kind of fun when you do these silly things. And you can get all these great candies in small size at Halloween early in your area director year. So that's one of the ways we build trust. I'm curious, do you have any ideas on building trust? I'm going to put them in chat.
We have a reply. Honesty is one way that someone uses to build trust. transparency, listening and reflecting back to them what they've shared. Follow up, don't make a promise that you can't keep. Be willing to listen no matter how small the issue is, and do not judge. Be vulnerable.
Do not.
Vulnerability is really a good one. Follow the core values. Providing regular communications and reminders about what is coming, like links to TLI or registrations, things like that. And of course, for the person asking, there are no small issues. Being available, being accessible, all are what's being shared in the chat.
If the club president and the area director on every phone call with the club officers can come up with all the things that they're doing well and let them know often, then you ask them, you find the thing that might be something you think they could improve. And you say, well, what do you think about visitors? How do you think you're doing on visitors? Don't say, how are you going to get more visitors? Say, what do you think? Could you use more visitors? Do you have any ideas how you could get more visitors? And let them talk for a while. And then when they're finished, let them know that all those were great ideas and ask when they might want to put those into play. Because that way, it's not you telling them to have an open house. It's not you telling them to invite guests. It's them offering it. Because when you've got a group of people together, they'll all come up with ideas. And then it's not you telling, it's all of you sharing. That builds trust too. And then you can ask, would you like some other suggestions that I've seen work in other clubs? That's somewhat of a magic way to say it. Things I've seen work in other clubs. Which brings me to another idea that I've used this year. Some area directors write a newsletter, and I did one newsletter, just one quick little recap of what's going on in all the clubs. But every time a club got closer to distinguished, like 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, I would send an email out. F5 is doing so well. These 2 clubs just finished 3 goals on the DCP. When one of the clubs in my area got their 10th goal complete in December, I sent an email to everybody and I said, those of you that think it's not possible, I said, congratulations, Don Yon, 10 goals completed already. It is possible to get all 10 goals. If you, here it is December, in your club would like to know how, what about visiting Don Yon, especially since we're online or they're hybrid now. Anybody can go visit Don Yon and see what they do in their club meetings and see if you've got some ideas that you can bring back. I also really encouraged all my clubs to visit all the clubs in the area and just get different ideas and share with each other and get to know each other. Because that helps them get ideas from other people instead of you telling them what to do. So get to know your clubs. Who has an idea that they've seen an area director use or an idea that they want to use to get to know information about their clubs? Anyone want to share either out loud or in the chat? Anything there, Jerome?
Linda, I would like to share one out loud.
I'd love it.
So when I was an area director, one of my clubs, struggling clubs, was Hayes, and I call them out Hayes. They're like 2 hours away from anybody. But one thing they would do was they would meet every other Wednesday. So when I went out to visit them, they had a great location. But the Wednesday that they were meeting, they would get people to come out and say, oh, well, we thought Toastmasters was. So I say, have you guys ever thought about meeting every Wednesday? So the membership picked up. They started meeting every Wednesday. That membership picked up. And then we thought about, instead of Wednesday, how about moving your club meeting to Friday? End of the week, a good time for everybody to come out. It's Friday. and just go to a Toastmaster meeting and start your weekend. So they moved their meeting to Friday. Haven't had any issues out of their club since.
That's fabulous. So that is something, when you all start sharing these ideas with each other in your division meetings and your area meetings, then send emails out, just little snippets. And I did this as district governor. I would say, I just heard the greatest idea when I visited XYZ club, and use that idea. They were meeting on Wednesdays every other week. They got the idea to go to every week, and they saw membership grow. Give it a shot.
Yeah, Linda, this is David Wells.
Pardon me?
This is David Wells.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I was area director, like I said, I don't think I did as successful job as I could do. So I'm excited for this next year to improve on what I did in the past. But we had 2 clubs that were really struggling to the point where they were ready to be suspended. And I was able to talk to them, and we finally were able to get more members for their clubs. And again, I became a member of one of the clubs, and then I had another person become a member of the other club, and we were able to build those 2 clubs back into good standing, and they have been presidential ever since.
Wow. So that's such a great idea. And and I bet you were a great area director last time. And I bet you'll be even better, because I found I'm already ready to be area director again, because I can tell you what I didn't do that I wished I had done this term. So thank you, David,
there's
for
a couple
sharing.
more. Oh, sorry.
Okay,
go ahead.
go. Yes.
So one of the suggestions is to get information from the club members that no one else knows, then have them guess who might have done such a task, and they know that will provide a good interaction and knowledge and fun for that club. Another one is to share 1 or 2 magic tricks and then ask the club to share their magic. Magic can be a unique quality of a club.
That is really cool. I love it. I'm not a magician. I take it you might be. But it would be fun to learn a magic trick just to be able to go and do that. Because magic, I think, is one of the key words to describe Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to people when they join is magic. It's not what they expected. It's even better. So David, thank you. Any more ideas?
I don't see any more in the chat yet.
Okay, that's fine. You didn't come knowing you were going to get to participate that much, but I love it when you get a chance to hear other people talk. So observations, that's one of my favorite words. When I want to ask somebody a question, or when I think there's another way they might do it, I'll often say, may I make an observation? I've noticed that you have fewer members here than you did last time, or something like that. But these are some things you can look for at your club visit, because this looks a little bit like part of the moments of truth. What impression do they make? Do they welcome guests? Do they give them a packet? Do they use the Toastmaster brand? Do they orient members? How do they orient them? Do they have an orientation? Do they have an induction? What's the atmosphere in the meetings? Is it disorganized at the beginning because the roles aren't filled? Or is it completely smooth because everybody's there ready to fill their role early? Is it fun? Are table topics interesting? How many members do they have? How many members did they start the year with? What's their base? How many members were present? And here's my favorite part. How do they recognize achievement? You already know about my gold stars and my hearts. But when someone is the best, they have improved so much, or someone has just held an open house or chaired an open house and done something really great to get a lot of club visitors, or you have a contest for someone or for whoever brings the most new members in a 6-month period, you can give them $100,000. And this is not even a Halloween 100 grand. This is the real deal. Although this one's about 3 years old, so I'm not going to send it to anybody. Or you could tell them that they were mounds of help. You know, little silly things. My kids go, oh, do you really do that with adults? Yes, I do. And they grin and they think it's silly, but it makes an impression.
Linda?
Yes.
One of the things that I like to do is when somebody does their icebreaker speech, I like to hand out give them an icebreaker, the mints.
Yes.
Give them an icebreaker when they complete their icebreaker speech.
So, and you know, I've been a Toastmaster a long time and I had never heard about that until last week. And I haven't quite gotten to the store to buy icebreakers, but I think that's a fabulous idea. And if you as area director, when you go on your visits, always have icebreakers, just in case there's an icebreaker speech. If the club has never seen that and you can give that icebreaker, you just really elevated their impression of you as part of their group. So that's a great idea. Any other ideas before we go on about how the club lifts the atmosphere or has the meeting really well organized?
To see there's a candy product called Icebreakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Linda?
Yes.
One of the things that I think is critical to an effective meeting, one, speech introductions, and two, using the agenda.
It does make it a lot easier, and if reading the objectives of the speech, but then also having something interesting about the member to say when you introduce them, I think. Many clubs will have a theme, and the Toastmaster will find out the members' reflections on that theme, and that's how they introduce them. We do that in one of my clubs.
Yeah.
I've tried to introduce it in other clubs, but I don't always get all the way.
Yeah, we had a theme today in our meeting, and having speech introductions for the speakers. We had 2 visitors there, and this morning we were able to sign up 2 new members. So having the introductions and following the agenda by line item makes the meeting flow, and people see that it's organized and it's not just a hodgepodge social club, and it makes a big difference.
It really does make a difference, because people generally, when they're coming for some kind of improvement in speaking or leadership or just confidence, and seeing that it's well run really helps that. You're so right.
Linda, I want to just add on with David. It builds credibility also. If you have a guest and you're doing a proper introduction, it builds the credibility in that speaker also.
And often you've got people that are visiting more than one club. So you want to make sure that you shine, right? So I'm going to move on to distinguished club goals, and how can we help the club become distinguished? As an area director, how can you help? We can talk about the plan. We can review the success plan. We can reminding of deadlines is good. And this is going to bring me to another thing that I like to make sure I remind everybody. Oftentimes people say, well, write the president, or write the president and the vice president of education. I think there's 7 officers in a club, and I think all of them are probably meeting on a regular basis. I think if they all get that email, they all know what's going on, because you never know, maybe the president is out on an extended vacation or has gotten sick and you haven't heard about it yet. And if all you're doing is writing one person, you have more opportunities for your message to get through to the club if you send it to all the officers. And I like to make all the officers feel extremely important. I will write them a simple note on the side When I get home from a meeting, I like to write each officer individually and let them know something that I thought they did well. I don't know if you've read The 1 Minute Manager. It's a pretty old book at this point, but one of his big tips is catch people doing something well and compliment them. Don't walk around looking for people and what they're doing wrong. Look for what they're doing right. And if you notice our evaluation, we point out everything people do well, and all the other members learn, oh, I see what they mean by vocal variety now and how I can use it differently because the evaluator pointed it out. That was catching them doing something right. So does anyone else have an idea on how to get the club to their distinguished club goals?
Make sure the club understands what the Success Club or the DCP is and how they fit into the big picture, and not just it's about, you know, one individual or two individuals, but how they fit into the whole picture. A couple of years ago, I talked to a person that was a president and had been in Toastmasters for several years, and they didn't know anything about the DCP and how the whole plan comes together and how Toastmasters has set us up for success.
Exactly. So the DCP was created, one of our past presidents, Ted Corcoran, looked at his club when it fell below what he thought was a good level. He says, what makes a good club? And that's where he came up with the 10 goals. And then the group worked together to create the DCP. So it's really all the things that it takes for a club to be successful. I like to hold up the DCP at a meeting, every meeting, and say, look how we're doing on the Distinguished Club Program. I think it's good to have someone do a speech on the Distinguished Club Program which is what we used to do with the old Club Success Series. And I literally make a scrum board. If anybody's familiar with the scrum board, it's all the goals for the club, and you move a notation over as you get closer and closer, kind of like the gold stars we used to get in first grade. But any visual like that you can put on display every week. We used to have those great big charts that showed where everybody was, what speeches they were working on, how they were doing. Visuals help. And when I send that sheet around asking people what they're working on, the members that aren't working on very much see all these other people that are doing things. They go, oh, look at that. Everybody else is working on a path. I guess I better start. So those are some ways to help. The first club visit, part 2. I've got to hurry up here. I'm going to run out of time. We did the Distinguished Club goals, and now we've been discussing all along because I like to do it that way. Are there any questions that anybody has about how to work through the first club visit?
First club visit should just be an introduction and not necessarily your formal evaluation of the club. Or you could do an evaluation just for your purposes. And then when you go back a couple months later and do your evaluation, you can see how much they've grown.
Exactly. And I never do the evaluation in front of them, but as I'm doing it, after I've done the visits, I'll call the club president and a couple of other people that seem to want to engage on how the club is doing and ask them some questions to see that I have the right, I've picked up the right answers to the questions before I finish the club report. I love to ask them what they think the challenges are rather than me pointing out what I think a challenge is. So I don't like to put challenges on the visit report until I've discussed them with them.
Yeah, how can you help them as an area director?
Right, that goes back to, that's an answer to a question on the report. So after the first visit, it says, now this is old, this is so old. Submit the area director's visit report. I never did it until after the third visit in the first 6 months. I visited twice before I really started asking all the questions. I wanted to build a relationship and get to know them and have fun and joke with them, and especially the clubs that enjoyed doing that. It says to contact the club president. I like to go over the report with the president or the whole team if I can get them all together. It's much easier now on Zoom. And I like to be really supportive in that meeting. You guys are doing great at all these things. Is there anything you think that you could improve on, so that they're telling me the answer to that question rather than me trying to come up with something? So we've gotten through the first visit. It's time to go visit again. It's January. What's different? And I love it when I can find things that they're doing even better. More people in the room, more pathway speeches, more visitors. Oh my gosh, you had an open house and I heard it was fabulous. If I made suggestions, have they been implemented? How are they doing on the DCP? I mean, so I bring the club roster with me every visit. I keep track of who was there and who wasn't, so I can see the attendance, so we can look at people that might be slipping through and making sure that they're calling and making them feel welcome. And there it says acknowledged accomplishments. Sometimes I'll take a bag of Smarties and let them all know that they're a bunch of Smarties. That way everybody gets a candy treat. But the other thing you can do to acknowledge people, you can just go to Word into the templates and find a certificate and print off a certificate on colored paper for the best joke I heard at a club meeting was from Fred when I visited last time. I wanted to give you the humor award. Make them up. They don't have to be important. Or who had on the brightest outfit? Or if you were there and there was a club theme, who had the best answer to the club theme? Whatever you want, but keep taking rewards and giving them rewards, because that builds trust that then when it's time to beg them to get their March dues paid, they might actually make extra phone calls for you. After the second visit, submit the area director report. Review it with the club. It says review report and discuss club with division director. Now your division director wants to know how they're doing, but you're probably giving your division director a report every month. When I have a club that's in trouble, I call the district director or the division director and let them know, because you know they're studying. The district is making them study your DCP. And I like to let my division director know what I think is going to happen. It's interesting. I didn't become area director this year until August. And the day I became area director. And the day I started, I was at a meeting and someone else that knew the area that I'd been assigned said, you know, you've already lost a club. And I'm like, no way. But yes, I had. But I helped them exit as a club. Every single member that was left, all 5 of them, joined another club before they turned in the dissolution papers. They also made sure they got their free pass. But I had them have a party. And I had them celebrate everything they did well as a club. And to really talk about, do you really want to do this? They had just given up on trying to be the only 5 people building the club. And there was another club close to them, and almost all of them went and built and joined the other club. And so stay in contact. That's what Lark was trying to tell us, is keep communicating. And I like to call every officer every 6 months and just say, how you doing? How can I help? So we've gotten through a good part of our agenda, but there are a couple of things that we get to talk about that aren't on any of the slides I'm seeing. So low membership, we talked about a bit, and ideas on how to build membership. I think you're going to see, I think we'll still be seeing some low membership in our clubs. And I think it's good to really get them working on open houses early. Does anyone have great ideas on how to have a successful open house? Or who likes moments of truth and has successfully conducted moments of truth?
This is Linda, this is Shed again.
Mhm.
I believe a successful open house is a successful PR campaign, but it takes every member. Every member has to put the word out. You know, we always rely on the PR person to only, but if every member is sharing it on their Facebook page or getting it out to their work or whatever, then that makes a successful open house.
Absolutely. And it really makes a difference. I like my clubs to invite me to their open house. I don't need to be, you know, regaled as the area director or anything. I just like to go because it's another body in the room, makes them look bigger, and I can just be a cheerleader in the room to help them get some of those people to join. I don't even care if they tell them that I'm the area director. I just want to be there to help them welcome the guests and answer questions and that type of thing.
I see
One
that.
of the things, go ahead.
Some folks have noted that food works. I know that will work for me for sure. Also, themed open houses, such as like a national iced tea themed open house works as well, or a winter wonderland themed open house. You can have the open house. You can join the Chamber of Commerce of the Young Professionals Group or another association that might be interested that bonds or connections with. Let's see. You can invite non-Toastmasters to speak at the open house and invite the speakers, platform members to visit the open house. With us going back in person, you can do a booth of any kind of at any kind of trade show. Let's see, I think there's like have some upbeat music with a few dance moves or use a few jokes at the openings. And let's see, encourage folks that, you know, with the hybrid session coming up, that, you know, there are opportunities for virtual open houses. So if you're not able to attend in person, then you can also attend online.
I love all of those. So were those in chat?
Those were from chat.
Okay, so make sure we all save the chat, and I can't save it because I can't bring it up. So I'm hoping somebody will share their saved chat with me after this. Those are all great ideas. I had one more and it just left me, but it'll come back. So low membership, you know, if you're in sales, you're always selling. We know in sales it takes 7 to 10 contacts before people make a buying decision. So inviting somebody once might not get them to the meeting. And if you're anything like I am, everywhere I go networking, everybody goes, oh, there's the Toastmaster. It's just who I am. It's my persona. And my Toastmaster pin, everything's on the opposite side in Zoom. I always wear my Toastmaster pin because I want to always be marketing. Another question I have is education awards. How do you present education awards in your club? If anybody wants to put in chat, and then I have a great idea for corporate clubs or people who have a boss.
Linda, our Table Talk Toastmasters, we present during the business meeting when somebody accomplishes a path with a certificate, have them come up, take a picture.
And then of course it's on Facebook, right?
Our PR puts it on Facebook, yeah.
And if you have a LinkedIn page, you can post what skills did that person, what transferable skills or competencies that might be relevant in the workforce did they accomplish with that path?
I like that idea.
So in corporate clubs, I started suggesting to all my corporate clubs, every time somebody completed a manual in those days, but now a path, you invite the supervisor, the manager, any executive in the company that you can to come to the meeting. You let them know ahead of time. You might ask them to participate in table topics. Or if they want to speak, you might even let them take a speaking slot. But you are going to present their employee with their certificate, and you're going to list off all the things they learned in completing that path. because this starts to get the corporation to understand that employees are not just getting up, walking down the hall and going into a room and laughing for an hour. They're actually accomplishing something. And that way, the managers don't tend to want to keep their employees from going. When I sell Toastmasters as region advisor, or when I'm part of the extension team, I'll say to the corporation, there's so many things that your members can learn. And when a corporation wants to pay, I suggest, what if you reimburse? And when your employees have met a certain percentage of attendance and a certain number of roles held in a meeting, so that you know that they're actually engaging and growing, then you reimburse them right about 2 weeks before the club needs to pay dues. So now they've got that check for $45, they can pay their dues. And it really helped me sell Toastmaster clubs. So I really recommend that. And the next thing is, well, what if I don't work for a corporation, but I have a boss? It's not a corporate club. Have your member invite their boss and let the boss come to the meeting when they get the certificate. Doesn't hurt to invite them. They may not come, but it starts an engaging discussion about all of the leadership that your member has learned, which changes the opinion of the boss of the employee. Oh, I never knew they were a leader. I'm going to have to start paying attention. So it really helps people build their resume. It helps people get promoted. And that's what we need to be posting on LinkedIn. Jerome Montgomery got promoted because of the skills he learned in Toastmasters. Look at him smile. I wish I could make it so right now, Jerome. So that's another thing that I like to get all of you to do, preferably before the first visit. Go find a club and find each one of those pages for each one of your clubs. Make sure it's got the right address, the right phone number, the right email. Call the phone number and email the email and say, hi, I'm interested in visiting your club. They may not know you're the area director, but you want to see if you get a response. Sometimes you don't. And that's not what you want to have happening for your clubs. Maybe they don't know they need to change that on the website in order to have the right phone number and the right email there when you get a new officer. Or maybe now that COVID is letting us go back into the real world, you want to change that you're online back to your location, or you're going to have a new location. You want to make sure you change it because you don't want someone to come visit your club if the address online when that's not where you're meeting anymore. So look those things up and look at their website. Look at their Free Toast Toast. Look at their Easy Speak or Speakeasy. Look at their Facebook page. Go find everything you can out about them online. See who they are online. And that might be some places where you can just nonchalantly say, is anybody here really good at Facebook? And if one of the members raises their hand, say, how would you like to take on the joy, the fun of posting about your club after every meeting? So now you're not telling the officers to do it. You're getting someone in the club to do it that wants to. So that helps their online presence. So we've talked about club visits. We've talked about trust. Where do we go from here? We're at resources. There are so many resources available. These are old pictures of old books. The district leadership book looks a little bit different, and it's not a book anymore. It's just online, right? And that looks a little bit like a club leadership manual in the background, which we don't have anymore. So some of these slides are out of date. I know they're being updated, but here are the resources. Well, I guess I have to review before I go to resources. Resources. If you go to Enhance Club Quality on Google, you will get this slideshow. But with the slideshow, you will get pages and pages of what to say after every slide. Some of it I said, some of it I put my material in instead, which is what they teach us to do as region advisors. But I think going back and looking at these slides after you look at your notes will give you a whole different perspective on what Toastmasters wanted you to learn with this program. Because I gave you the Linda Ray perspective. I'm willing to bet the David perspective and the Jerome perspective and the Shed perspective. And I know the Rob. Are we finished with our meeting? Oh, thank you. Whoops.
I apologize.
Anyway.
I clicked the wrong button there. I was trying to open the chat up again
You know what's funny?
next to that button and I missed.
Was it Lark before we got online talked about pushing the wrong button and changing something when she was speaking at another district? It happens all the time, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, sorry.
But we all have a different perspective. So if you go back and look at this training material and the workbook, you'll also get the resource list that I keep forgetting is not a slide. And I wish it was. So we'll get to that. But our review is that we talked about club quality. Does anyone still have a question about what club quality is or the positive member experience? If you learn something new about club quality or the positive member experience, type yes in chat. And I hope if there's 75 people on this call, I keep hearing there's 99. If there are 99 people on this Zoom meeting, I hope we get 99 yeses. I hope you learned something.
There are a lot of yes coming in.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did you learn a little bit about preparing for your club visits and how to download and print off some materials to take with you to study ahead of time so you really know who the club is? Study the Toastmaster materials and study the social media and online materials about the club. It really, when you go in and say, I looked at your Facebook page and I love how you, and then list what they do on Facebook, they'll go, wow, she really is, or he really is interested in us. And then if they're not doing much, while you're there, suggest they take a screenshot so they can post it on Facebook when they're done. Suggest they take a screenshot and update the picture on their website. And maybe every week get someone in the club who's going, it could be the PR vice president, someone that wants to go to Facebook every single week and post. At our meeting today, we had 3 great speeches, and then list the titles. Here were the award winners: best table topics, best evaluation, best speaker. Evaluation today was exceptionally good. Evaluation is one of the keynotes of Toastmasters. Being able to give good feedback and to receive feedback helps people grow in their career. And so now you're promoting what's really good about Toastmasters to let the public know what's in it for them. If you can get someone that wants to do that, it really helps your club. And then we know how to conduct an effective club visit. We know how to use language that asks questions and let them put the answers to the questions in their words rather than your words. And Jesse did a great job on talking about conflict. And I think you've learned some tricks on challenges to say, when someone says, well, we don't have enough members, what do you think is the answer? What can you do? Let's find out what they want to do, and then you can offer more suggestions. That way you're a team member instead of the principal. Because I can remember the first 2 times I saw an area director, they came in, hi, I'm here. I can't stay for the whole meeting. And by the way, we think you should go to training and contests. Your club doesn't participate. I didn't even know there was training and contests, and here I'm getting in trouble for not going. So be careful of how we give them feedback. Let's let them tell us what they need help with, and then let them come up with the answers. Then they think you're a hero. Wow, she really got us. So after review, closing remarks. Well, I think I just did that. And the thing that's really sad to me is there's not a slide of the resources. So I'm going to tell you what some of them are. I could swear it was a slide in my information. How many of you go look at Toastmasters website and just troll around for things that you've never seen before? Well, you're going to get a 2-page list in the materials when you go look for enhanced club quality. You're going to learn that there are all kinds of articles that have been written that can help you, like crucial conversations in the March 2009 Toastmaster magazine. I don't know about you, but I didn't remember that article because I wasn't a member then. But I went back and looked it up, and it's a great article. There's effective evaluation, evaluate to motivate, how to listen effectively. That's what evaluation really is. There's the art of effective evaluation. Leadership lessons from coaches was in Toastmaster magazine in 2010. Of course, there's the club leadership handbook. How about infuse your club with creativity? That's a great theme and a great table topic, because give your club vitamin C, creativity. Think about that as a variation. Making the most of the club officer roles, July 2011 Toastmaster magazine. So I'm not going to read the rest of these, but you're going to see when you go look this up that they have given you so many resources. The other thing they're going to do is explain the Find a Club page. This is in when you go look up enhanced club quality. They're going to show you, I guess this is just more about the Find a Club page. But the more you can find out about your club, the more you can compliment them, the more you can become someone walking alongside them rather than talking down to them. And the more you encourage them to have mounds of fun, you will be a true, where'd it go, smarty, and they'll think you are worth 100 grand. My email is thrive, not survive, but thrive every day @gmail. If you want more ideas, if you want someone outside the district that you can bounce ideas off, get help, whatever I can do to help you, my joy is helping Toastmasters, no matter what district they live in. And having known David and Kim Myers and Michael Hobbs and Rob Christensen and April Hendrickson and all the people in District 22, over the years, I've somewhat felt like I'm almost a member of District 22. So I am here to help you any way I can. And I'm here to answer questions right now.
Linda, what was that email address?
Thrive every day @gmail. That's the name of my business, because I think that being an area director or a coach, which is what I am, when we can look at how we thrive every day and make every day the best day ever, life is good.
Linda, I've included your email in the chat for everyone.
Thank you, Jerome. It's really weird not to be able to see chat. You know, kind of feel like, did they tie my hands behind my back? Who's looking forward to going on their first club visit? Type yes, say yay.
Me.
Who's looking forward to completing their area director report?
A lot easier after today's training.
Not after today's training?
I said a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier after today's training. I used to dread the area director report.
So when Dan asked me to come speak, he said, can you speak? Is there anything you like to speak on? And I said, I love to train area directors. And he said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, my speech title always is how to get your clubs to love you and you to love the area director report. Because if you can do those two things, this role is a snap.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I love doing this. Can you tell?
And I want to say for all the area directors, like Dave said, the first year he felt he didn't do a good enough job. Even when I was an area director, I felt like the first year I was learning. So I went back for a second year and actually got area director of the year that second year. So Dave, looking for good things out of you.
Is that Shed? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
I already accomplished that. I just want to improve on what I did last time.
Good
So
for
am I,
you. I
Shed.
love it.
So my Shed.
So here's a quick thought. Pick out which club you think is going to be the most welcoming. And this was a tip given to me by a former district governor when I was area director the first time. So I picked Evening Stars, an advanced club, which believe it or not, at that point, I wasn't eligible to join because I still had 2 more speeches in my CC manual. And oh my gosh, I've been a member of that club ever since I quit being an area governor that year. They took me under their wing. They told me how to do everything that they thought area directors should do to support them. A past district governor in the club said, let's sit down and go over your area director report and talk about how to get all the answers. And so I practiced my first area director report, filled it out, sent it to them. And they just took such good care of me that then all the rest of them became so much easier. So give that a go if you can find what you think is your most welcoming club. And remember, the current area director is there to give you all the advice they can, and hopefully their area director reports and their comments. Go install officers with them and learn about your clubs and have fun. Thank you for having me.
Linda, I want to take just a moment since you can't see the chat. I wanted to just say I really appreciate you sharing not only the very creative, innovative ideas of how to acknowledge the club members, but also the suggested questions of like what kind of question to ask the club. These are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for that comment. And now I can see chat and I just saved it. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm part of you again.
Great. Thanks so
You
much.
were a great group. You participated and really got in there. I know District 22 is lucky to have all of you serving. And look at Rob. He's looking like a proud father.
Great.
As is Dan.
Yeah. Real quick look at the agenda. Linda went off and made us ahead of schedule for some reason. So thank you for that, Linda. That's always a great thing. So that means we can add an extra hour of content. Or no, wait, that's not the thing Dan said to do. What did Dan? Oh, let's go ahead and move into our wrap up. And we have just a couple items here. I wanted to go over a couple of quick things as far as like the pre-work that we sent out and do a quick Q&A if anybody has any follow-up questions around the session or about the session in 2 weeks. And so this will take me just a second here to, if you remember this document that's coming up now, or should be coming up now. Are you seeing the area director expectations page?
It's there.
So this is what was sent out earlier this week for you to take a look at. If you haven't had a chance to, that's okay. You can look at it now. There's a link to the District Leadership Handbook, a link to the dashboard video on how to read the dashboard, also one for club officers on how to do it. It's about a 5-minute and an 8-minute video, so about 13 total minutes of your life. And you can even forward this link on the club officer one to club officers if you want to, to kind of, to part of that trust building we were talking about earlier, you give them some resources, right? but there's just a few, like little over 2 pages of questions about like, why did you decide to be an area director? What was the purpose of area director? Some of the things Lark touched on in her session, and both Jesse and Linda talked on too. So if you didn't do this yet, again, it's a good idea to take a look at it. We will send one more like this. There's another one on club visits. So it's basically what Linda was just talking about. Where's it at? There we go. Is that showing up now? Versus club visits?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So notice this also has the dashboard links in it. They're the same ones. So you don't have to watch them all twice, or you can. It's up to you. There's also an extra link here for the area director report, moments of truth, distinguished club program, club success plan. So a lot of things that Linda talked about. And then there's a couple of quick questions about challenges, your club experiences, things like that for you to think about that you can take a look at. So we encourage you to go through that, provide that to you so you have some of those links as well. I know it may feel like we gave you a whole lot of links. You don't need to look at all of them in the next 2 weeks, but if you can look at 80% of them, that would be no. But if you can, look at the ones that you feel are appropriate, you need to look at, you've got them available to you, okay? So I wanted to make sure to let you know that. And then beyond that, the only other thing that I wanted to do was follow up before I hand it back to Dan and he does the closing thoughts for you, was ask, were there any other questions or any questions about the session in 2 weeks anyone has they want to bring up before we wrap up?
Where the recording is going to be?
In a place. I'm not sure yet, but we will send it. We will send you the information. Between Terry Ann and a couple others, we'll make sure it gets placed in a spot. Probably the district website under downloads, but I mean, I don't want to pretend I know exactly what that answer is when I don't. So we will get that wrapped up and make sure that the next email to you has the information for it. There is the YouTube is still running right now, as a matter of fact. So if you go to the District 22 YouTube page, YouTube search District 22 Toastmasters, it's there. It's called ADDD training. You can watch it. And I mean, I've been watching it off and on during, so I know it's there. So that's there as well. But we'll get the other recording information out too. Anybody else?
Rob, has there been an agenda or anything for the?
It's coming out probably should be out on Monday. It's almost finished. I'm trying to wrap up one thing. So, but it'll be the main 3 sessions there will be on building clubs, on contests, and on the district recognition program. Those are the 3 primary sessions that are being covered in that training.
Cool.
Anyone else? I don't know if I have everybody on the screen or not. I'm trying to. So I don't see anybody else raising their hand or anything. If there are no more questions, I want to thank everybody. I want to sort of also, I mean, I do want to thank Lark. She's not here to hear it. And thank Jesse as well, and Linda, who is still here, for doing such a great job. They can watch the recording and see me thanking them again, right? Fantastic work. Preparation definitely showed. Really appreciate everything that all of you did. Everybody else that helped out as well, Jerome, Shed, Dan, Joanne, etc., Terry Ann. I don't want to leave anybody out. And I also want to thank all of you for participation. We had a lot of good interaction in each of the sessions. That's really great. That's tough to pull off on Zoom, and everybody pulled it off really well. So thank you for that. And I will now conclude the training portion, and I will return control to our incoming district director, Distinguished Toastmaster Dan Arbuckle.
Thank you very much, Rob, for putting this all together. Linda, thank you for presenting, as well as Jesse and Lark. At the beginning of the day, I said that we're not in this alone. And hopefully, not only do you fully understand that, but you see that there's a structure in place that we can take advantage of to make sure. So have those area councils, those division councils. I put deck meetings out on calendars, and maybe a few of you that need to add, I will get you added as soon as possible so everybody's out there. We have Zoom accounts for each division. So area directors, division directors can take advantage of those to have those meetings. Reach out and meet all those people in your area and division and the district for all of us. We all have a title starting July 1st as an area director, division director, district director. Most important title we have is Toastmaster. Let's think about all of it from that level. I mean, we have to enjoy our meetings. We have to want to attend our meetings before we want to invite other people to them. If we don't enjoy the meetings and participate and invite other people, clubs can't become distinguished. we get here next year, I'd like your areas to be distinguished, your districts, divisions to be distinguished. That's not going to happen if the clubs aren't. And none of that happens unless we as Toastmasters enjoy what we're doing. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. I'm sure I'll see many of you in between then. For brand new people coming in or people changing roles, until July 1st, you won't have access to see your club officers, your club members. If you want to get a jump start on that, let me know. I can pull that information for you. Something very important to remember is we did have some realignment, which we did talk about. The dashboard doesn't currently display that. It won't until after July 1st. I'll send out a spreadsheet that I've been working on that has what the alignment looks like for each division so that we all have that to work off of. Thank you very much for being here today and being district leaders. Thank you, Rob. Again, thank you, Linda. And if there's no more questions.
I just had one. What was the date you said that those?
So starting July 1st. So once we're officially in the office, we will then have that access we need for that office.
Okay.
Or should have. Hopefully it'll be right on July 1st. We all know that with big organizations, sometimes there's a little wiggle, and right now I can access the information for you. We may have to throw it in a spreadsheet and massage it so that the alignment works out right, but we can get the information to you. Just let me know what you need.
Hey, Dan, all the different tools that were mentioned in the chat, are those going to be available as well? Because there were some great tools identified I've never heard of before that I think we could probably take advantage of as a district as well.
Definitely. There's not only does TI offer an amazing amount of information, all of our fellow Toastmasters clubs and areas and divisions and districts have wonderful websites. There's lots of great info out there. And I'm here
Dave,
for
Dave,
you guys. You guys let me know what you need.
Dave, just to answer your question, you can save the chat right now yourself.
I did.
Those three dots. Right.
I did.
Well, and Rob listed almost everything that I talked about in the chat. Rob, you're incredible. I've always thought that, and even more now.
Thank you, Rob.
I can cut and paste. Thank you.
Well, if there are no other questions, thank you all for being here, and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just a reminder, we're always looking for leaders for the next training. So for those who think training is boring, step up.
Definitely boring when you're involved.
Shad, how do I save the closed caption onto my computer?
The closed caption, I do not know. Is there any kind of button or anything when you close it down? This is my.
Hey, Shed, this is David. There should be a live transit.
There's a view
transcript.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, view live full transcript. Let me see if I can find a way to save that. I will
it's
send
there.
it.
Yeah, you gotta. There's three different options.
Full transcript. How do I save it?
How do you save it?
Dave is telling you right now. Dave, go ahead. David Wooten.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. It looks like on this one, I don't have the permission to save it. Usually there's just like the save chat. There's three buttons at the bottom. This particular version, I'm not seeing it. It might be because it's still loading.
So I can save chat, but separate from that, I want to save the closed caption.
Right.
I think David's onto something. Since we're still in it, it may still be working. As the host,
when you close it down, you know how it asks you to save after you close down?
Yeah, as the host, I think it may give me the ability to save all of it once all of it's complete, I think.
So KR, we will try to get that to you.
To all of us, please.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So KR, we'll try to get that to you, right?
There's two different. Right. I was able to save the chat. I'm just not able, like usually I'm able to save what they call the full transcript, and I can view it, but I don't see the option.
Are you normally the host
or you
no?
You know, I will say that Toastmasters takes a lot of time to do it, but I tell you what, it is so well worth coming and doing these trainings. Yes, I lost half of a day, but I've learned so much, and I cannot wait to use some of these in my own personal club too.
So,
Yep, I agree.
KR, if you can't save it, we owe you an answer on that. We will try to get you once Dan closed down, he would try to see if he can save it. Okay.
Yep. I am hoping it prompts me as the host to do that.
Yeah, I think it's a host setting, Dan.
Yep.
Bob, good job today, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, KR, we're gonna. Okay, KR, we're gonna close down and then get it to you. Oh,
Still live on YouTube though.
Really?
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Why did that not stop?
I don't know how to stop that. That's not.
Okay.
And I don't.
Well,
see
guys,
anything.
thanks for everything. Terry, look forward to working with you again. All that good looking hair.